right, let's start this bad boy. This is ridiculous.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. Okay, everybody, it's the Current Gen Podcast. It's an episode. It's one of the numbers. It's a number that happens. I was gonna get there. Thank you, Dan. It's 127 episode Current Gen Podcast. Thank you, Bit Killer Dan, for killing bits right at the top of the episode. Really appreciate it. Speaking of, I have Dan
hey, that's
here.
what I'm here for.
I've got Dan here with me today with Jeff, and it's me, Kyle. I am hosting. I have no idea why they're allowing me to do so, but here we are. I don't know. We're going to keep the stuff to kind of a minimum. We're not going to do a lot of segments this week because we go on tangents. So
we're doing segments, no bits.
No. We're definitely doing no bits. We're doing bits.
Exists.
Yeah,
All right, we're not getting to know each other with whiteboards.
We have bits to make up for since you killed one at the top of the show. So
just go ahead and do it.
Again, thank you, Dan. Radio voice.
Hey, all right.
But yeah, we're just gonna kind of stick to kind of stuff that we're playing, stuff that we're watching, go over some headlines. The three of us are just insane. I don't think we need a game or anything this week. The game this week is us going on tangents. So just that if you feel like you need to scream about something, this week's the week to do it, guys.
You know what? You could, if you're a listener or watcher, I guess, on YouTube, if you're an insane person and want to see our faces, what's wrong with you?
No, I wore a nice shirt this week just in case. I don't know.
Make a drinking game out of it. Every time we go on a tangent, take a shot of, lemon squeeze or whatever. I don't know.
I would play with you guys, but I would be drunk halfway through this podcast, and I have to run it this week.
I'd be dead. I'll eat a gummy every time I go on a tangent.
Your mouth is dry, drink a Canada Dry. That's a thing, right?
Yeah, I don't know. That seems very Canadian to me. I don't know if I endorse that. Anyways, let's just jump right into. Oh, are you drinking one? That's funny.
Yes.
That's called prop comedy. Anyways, let's go right into. Let's go. I'm drinking Dude Bro Rain energy drink. Whoa,
that's
Rain, dude. Yeah.
They're good right
metal, bro.
Brother, they're good right before a workout, brother. I tell you.
Let me tell you.
Let me tell you, brother. Hold on something. Hold on there, dude.
Hold on there.
This is gonna be like 4 hours long.
That's why I said no segment this week.
Sorry, Tim. Sorry, Dad.
No, actually, you're welcome, Tim. This is for you. I'm dedicating this episode to Dad. Yep. Anyways, let's jump right into playing, guys, before this goes too off the rails here. I'm sure it's going to go off the rails many more times. I want to get right into the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course, Pass Wave 2 tracks. That's a lot of words, guys, that you put in these notes.
Yeah, it is.
Is it Jeff? Are you the only person who played this?
Yeah, I bought the Booster Pass when they first announced it. Because, when you buy it once, you get all the tracks they add to it. So every wave they've been doing, I think it's every few months or so, every quarter. I'm not exactly sure on the timing yet. But they add 8 tracks to Mario Kart 8. We're on Wave 2, which is 8 more tracks. One of the most notable ones for me, at least, because I've played it a ton, is the Calamari Desert on N64. That track has been finally implemented into Mario Kart 8. That's the one with the train track, and you can kind of take a shortcut.
Right.
I remember that one, yeah.
This one's interesting. They're adding each lap. I feel like they add a different route on the course, and I remember the third lap.
They tweak it.
Yeah, they tweaked it a little bit. Like the third lap, I remember it actually introducing a ramp, and then you go up and around, and then it forces you to actually go through the train tunnel and avoid the train as it's coming down and stuff. And I found that to be interesting.
Was that not like that before?
Okay. It was just a straight up track. You just drive the track in Mario Kart 64. So the fact that they introduced,
I didn't realize they were making tweaks. That's cool.
Yeah, they introduced different routes. It forces you to go on different routes each lap, basically. Which is cool. And then the Super Nintendo track, Mario Circuit 3, which obviously was very flat on Super Nintendo. But that one was added. There's some other ones that I haven't played, like some Game Boy Advance and Wii, DS, Mario Kart Tour. I haven't played any of those. So those tracks are all new to me.
Mario Kart 8 has basically become the racing version of Smash Brothers Ultimate, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's basically
it's the library of everything that's come before it. It feels like
exactly. But it's obviously the present day Switch graphics, so they look amazing. I still think the booster thing's a good deal, especially if you are a Mario Kart fan. There's just not a lot to say about them. I mean, it's what you expect. It's Mario Kart racing on new tracks. Yeah,
but the new tweaks, them tweaking it is cool, though. I obviously just assumed it was gonna kind of throw that sheen and transfer it to what it would be for 8. You know what I mean? But that's cool.
Yeah, there's some. At least at least I noticed by like the third lap, I was like, this looks different. What's going on here?
Yeah,
and that's on all of the. I didn't manage to finish all 8 tracks, but I did the first 4, which is a Turnip Cup. And that one, I was noticing on every single race. I was like, why does this third lap feel different? Like there's like sometimes it'll take you down a different path. I don't know if that's just me the way I drive and I'm choosing to go a different path. I don't think it is. I think they're deliberately designing the track that way to make it cool, like to make it.
Well, these older ones are so simple that they're probably just trying to throw something to kind of be.
I thought I remember like some old like Bowser Castle levels that maybe did that. So like that's why I brought up. I was like, did it not do that before? Because I honestly don't remember. But I know some levels did kind of have some change ups. Before, but I'm not saying this is one of them. But I like that they've at least brought kind of those levels back because I don't remember those being part of Mario Kart 8 at all. Like any levels that changed, even in the newer version. So I like it. I
gotta play through the other 4 that are in there, especially because I'm not familiar with those tracks at all. But yeah, Wave 3 through 6 is still coming out this year and next year. I think they said it's a 2-year plan. So they've already released 2 waves. Another one will probably come out this year. Yeah. Almost halfway there, almost. Yeah. Quite literally, accurate description of what the timeline is, because it's not a bit this time.
Yeah,
outside of a bit, halfway there, almost halfway there.
Right. Dan, did you want to kill this one too, or?
This is getting a bit old for me. I'll be honest with you.
It's old hat.
It's getting a bit old for me. So.
A bit old. Oh God.
A bit old. Oh damn it.
It's too genius, and I really don't even know. That's so good. I don't even know what to do with that. So
I'm frustrated that it came out.
Thank you for that. Thank you for being very sharp about that. Speaking of Dan, I know you're the one who's playing Fairy and Sword Together Forever, which I believe is Fairy and Sword 7. He's got his glasses on, so I hope he's taking. He's about to take this seriously, is what I hope.
I have the need for speed.
Top Gun levels of Tom Cruise being serious about talking about fairies and swords.
Seems easy enough.
Tell me a little about this game, man. I really want to buy this game, but like I don't know what's keeping me from doing it. And I think this
40?
I think this conversation is going to be the teetering point for me of like running away and buying this. So lay it on me, buddy.
So I've not played any of the previous ones at all, so I'm not familiar with this series whatsoever. I don't
think we could before, right? Like these have all been. Yeah. This is the first one that's only been localized for us. So
unless they're available on like Steam or something, so you can get it on PC.
And there's always ways, obviously, as well.
Sure.
In terms of mainstream releases, this is the first.
On a console too, here on the in the US, yeah, exactly, and it's so it's was it Fairy and Sword Together Forever? It's the 7th one, so it actually has like a number. If you look it up, like it's either comes up as Sword and Fairy 7 or Together Forever.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a Chinese studio. So it as far as like the visual aesthetic of the game, sort of the world, the architecture, the way characters are kind of like dressed is a little more leaning towards more like being Chinese as opposed to Japanese. Out of the way, one of my gripes is there's unfortunately no English VO, so that's kind of a bummer for me.
You gotta read,
yeah, which is tough because it's like, I mean, I love anime, so I'm used to reading and watching anime, but for me, and I'm not used to it, it's different playing a game, especially a fast game, because it's an action RPG, and it's the combat is pretty nice. It's fast. It's you're dashing around, you're doing stuff. But there are moments where you're fighting stuff, but then they're also talking, which obviously if it was in English, I would just be listening and fighting. But I'm having to read and fight and kind of, so there's like an extra thing going on there. So that's something that I'm having to get used to with this. Also, the translation doesn't seem to be totally great.
I heard there were some grammatical errors and
just sentences are missing, like ands and the, like things like that, ands and does and so on and so forth. So words just kind of like mesh together, kind of weird sometimes. But it's a super pretty game. It's very pretty. It's on Unreal Engine. I'm assuming 4, maybe not. I don't think it's on 5, but
no, I don't. Have we even seen an Unreal 5 game yet?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't think so
either.
But there's a lot of greenery going on. There's a lot of teals and pinks and blues, like cherry blossom trees, and so it's very pretty. It's very nice to look at. Like you said, it's $40, so it's like it's a budget game. So yeah, you kind of go if you see the $40 price tag, you're like, all right, this isn't going to be like a $60 or $70 game where you're getting all the accoutrements, like the facial animations are basically almost non-existent. So there's kind of like a little bit of like deadpanning going on with their faces when they're kind of talking. There's not a lot of emotion there. But the stuff that's happening is pretty interesting. Like the story actually does seem pretty interesting as I'm trying to, kind of piece together what's being said and piecing it together. So it's about humans, deities, and demons. So the game basically.
Can I ask it? Is there a lot of talking and like exposition going on while you're fighting? So it's hard to kind of keep up with like the reading and like obviously like focusing on the mechanics, or like
it is mostly cutscenes. And then like moments where you are kind of just walking. So like I just kind of stop and read what they're saying.
Which is not the way you would play the game normally.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, as far as like dialogue being spoken while you're fighting, that doesn't happen that often.
That's good at least. Okay.
But it does happen. So if it's something you're not used to, it's a little disorienting.
Yeah,
and again, even for me.
I have that problem with Dynasty Warriors, so it's like those games are hardly ever translated. And those games are all action all the time and everything. And there'll just be things being said, kind of like, characters bickering at each other or whatever. But like, you zone it out because you're so focused on the mechanics. You miss a lot of like the actual story and stuff like that in those games. So I was wondering if it's kind of like similar here. It sounds like maybe sometimes, but not all the time.
Right. Yeah, I would say it is similar, but obviously more story focused because that is more of like a big arenas and like hack and slash, right?
Yep.
So as opposed to this being more of like an action RPG where you kind of have like this town and then there's kind of like the surrounding foresty type of area.
Open area, open world.
Yeah, open area. Yeah, open area. But pretty decent sized area. I mean, I'm also only in the first like 5-ish hours. So there's basically the main like kind of like little village town that you open up in, and then you go to this other city that's not like more advanced, but kind of like basically that city is more tied to the deities. So humans, gods, and demons is kind of what the story is focusing around. And that other city basically I think has a connection to the gods because they're kind of trying to like work together to be able to sort of I guess like so basically like the leader of the gods like has taken control of an individual's body so he can kind of like project himself in the human world and kind of give orders to sort of the people to kind of help them deal with the demons. Again, this is in the beginning, so I'm not entirely sure like
sure
why he's necessarily in the human world specifically doing that. But the very beginning, you're playing as this deity, and then some things happen, and then he ends up in the human world. So then that's when it switches over to the female lead character. And we're just still basically trying to figure things out. They basically then become intertwined, like literally, because I guess like he fell into the human world because he ended up fighting like the demon, like almost like boss. And then like he turned into. Do you guys mind if I say some specific things? Because it's kind of funny, actually.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go
so
ahead.
basically, this deity that you start out in the first like 15 minutes of the game, like he gets thrown into the human world, and then he like turns into an apple for some reason.
Okay.
So like, so she like sees this glowy like apple, and she's like, "Oh, it's full of spirit energy." And her little bird companion starts like freaking out because it can sense that there's something up with this fruit. So she goes to like bite it, but like she doesn't fully bite it. But then when he comes out of the apple, he has like a bite mark on his neck.
Okay.
So basically now they're like intertwined. Like he has to actually be physically near her in order to like, I guess like be like, I guess maybe so his power doesn't like diminish or doesn't die or something. I don't know.
They're tied together intrinsically.
Yes, exactly. They use symbiote, almost like they use the word symbiote or symbiotism or whatever it is. Symbiosis, yes. Yeah, but the combat is pretty nice. It's fast, it's fluid. Typical. It doesn't do anything outrageously different, but the dashing feels good. The combos feel good, and obviously there'll be more as you learn as you go along. So
usually in games like this, I just want the speed and the connections to feel good. So
it does.
If those things are there, even if like it's just heavy attack, light attack, and you're just alternating between those two, and that's most games. I don't care. Like that does it for me enough as long as it feels good whenever those connections happen.
Yeah, and again, there is you are leveling up the character, so there'll be more stuff that you unlock. So basically, out the gate is square, triangle. And then your little bird companion, you can kind of basically summon for like extra like special abilities. So he'll do like a little lightning attack. Like, kind of like a small AoE type of attack. And I'm sure, and that basically you can level up the bird. He's your little spirit companion, so you can feed him some fruits, and that'll level him up.
Can you pet the bird?
No, unfortunately not. But he does just kind of hang out with you.
Out.
No, yes, you're out.
Anyways, Dan, thanks for your time. I appreciate it. Let's. Hey, Jeff. I know you're a fan of like Hero and maybe some forms of like waifu, Chinese movies like that. Are you interested in this? Is this too fantastical for you? At $40, is that low enough to get you in to try something like this? Is Dan talking about the combat being good enough interest you at all? Where are you at on this game in terms of like your willingness to try it?
That's a good price. I would get it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Really depends on what else I got going on. Because that's kind of what I'm weighing more nowadays.
Time, not price.
Yeah, exactly. If it's like, well, I'm gonna get this game, but do I really have time to actually?
I hear
play
it's
it
big.
enough to get
I
an
hear
opinion.
there's a lot of what I mean. It's a pretty, it's not a 4-hour game or anything like that.
I looked up on how long. I looked up on how long to beat. It said the average of like kind of mainlining it is 24 hours, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, I mean 24 is a good chunk of game these days. For a game that's not like a giant Witcher style game or something of that nature. So
anyway, I did watch gameplay and it did look something I would enjoy.
It is fun. I think it's just for me, and again, I'm used to watching anime, so I'm used to reading and watching things. But if you can get past the hurdle of like you're doing something and you're having to read, because again, there's no English VO whatsoever. If you can get over that hurdle, I think it's worth the $40.
So Yakuza's like that as well. There's no voice acting, and it's just constantly. So it's like I'm used to playing games kind of like that.
Sure.
I also will admit that I miss some things, like while I'm just walking around and fighting. Even in Yakuza, I'm like, what did Kazuma just say? Like, did I miss something? Like maybe he was just saying something scripted or canned, but like maybe it was something important. I don't know. So there's that element of it there, but I think I'm used to playing games like that enough where maybe it won't bother me. So
yeah, and the story does seem pretty interesting out the gate with kind of like what the deal with the demons are and why they really want to get. They're basically trying to kidnap the individual that like leader god is like kind of controlling. So they're trying to kidnap this individual. It's like, well, why do they want him so bad? So there is something kind of interesting there, and that individual becomes close with the female lead character. What's her name? Shiu, I think it is. There's a lot of X names, which I think they pronounce as sh, right?
Yeah,
a lot of sh.
Yeah, SH, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a connection there. Like he really likes her because he like basically ran away because they were sort of imprisoning him, like keeping him up in this pagoda. But because his body is being used as like a vessel so that God can kind of come through and communicate with them. So he doesn't quite understand like what the deal is there. And she's trying to sort of like be like kind of like this, like, hey, like you just met me and like I'm like a big sister to you. And like, so he really likes her. And then he's like, I don't, they're trying to like keep me in this pagoda. And it's like, well, yeah, because there are things going on. But yeah, I mean, I think it does seem interesting. The combat is really fun. It's just that one little hurdle, but if you can get over that, I think it's worth the $40. I think it's worth a shot. So
cool. Yeah, I plan to pick it up. I'm just I'm so deep in so many other games right now that
of course.
It's like Jeff, you have to start like doing that like mental math. Like, if I buy this, is it gonna sit on my hard drive or is it gonna boot up? At some point.
I mean, and you could certainly wait and maybe it'll be on a small sale, like $8 off or something. So it's like, oh well, for $8 off, why not? $30-something is better than $40. You know what I mean? So
sure, yeah. And a game like this will go on sale instantaneously. So if you sleep on it now, come November it's $20, I bet. So
right.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm still playing a little bit of Xenoblade. I know you guys aren't, and there's not much more I can share other than I feel the beginning is very story heavy, which feels good for an RPG, especially a JRPG, where sometimes you kind of get an inkling of like, hey, the world's in danger. There's a guy that's evil, and you've got amnesia, or you just met a girl who's powerful, or you just insert, trope here or whatever. And then like it maybe takes 14 to 20 hours for like maybe the first big story moment to happen.
Sure.
I feel like you have 3 or 4 big story moments that happen in the first like 6 hours of this game.
Oh wow!
That really move the needle forward in a way where I'm like, oh wow, I instantaneously care about all these people. Speaking of, the characters are just very easy to enjoy. So I feel like all that stuff is working and everything. I love the traversal in this game. The ability to just be like, I'm doing this mission. Just for the love of God, take me where I'm supposed to go, and just like it just paints a line on the ground to like where you're supposed to go. Very nice. I know that like people, love the days of like Morrowind where like a mission would just be like, hey, go northeast and like maybe there'll be a cave there, and if there is, go in that one if it's the right one, and maybe there'll be a chest in there. And then you spend 14 hours going up and down this river and never find this cave, like that's great, sure, that's immersive and stuff like that, but I have like 30 games I need to get to, you know what I mean? So sometimes I don't mind there being some sort of like feature that just gets you to where you need to be. Especially with a game like this that's like being touted as over 100 hours. Like, just get me. I don't need hurdles. Just get me through it, So I really enjoyed that. Also, these people live here. They would know how to get around. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's another element that I always enjoy is it doesn't ever make sense that like when a character gets dropped into like their own world and they're like, where are we supposed to go? And I'm like, you live here.
Like, you've seen all of this for years.
You know everything about this place. Like, it's crazy to me. So it is nice that like there's a sense of direction in this game and stuff like that, because it is a very, very, very big game with a lot of side quests and stuff. A lot of content here. I feel like the battle mechanics keep on growing. Like, what starts off as really basic and everything, like now I feel like if I ever stop playing this game, I can never go back to it, because there's so many mechanics that like it's exhausting, and I'm in the middle of it. You know what I mean? It's just to keep up with everything, and that's not a negative. It's just it's a lot. Like the system asks a lot out of you in terms of remembering what works and what doesn't work, and what you're supposed to be doing, what you're not supposed to be doing in certain situations.
I know even like the second one was already like that. Like I remember,
Yeah, there was a lot of things about the second one I just didn't get. This one at least explains it to you better. But I just know that if I even took a 2-week break and came back, I'd be like, how do you Ouroboros again? I don't know what's going on here. If I even remember that word, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's
right,
like, it's a lot of jargon, it's a lot of stuff, it's a lot of on-screen prompts, there's
Can you write that down for me?
Can you write that down? But yeah, so just there's kind of that element to it where I just know like I'm in it, I need to beat this now or get as much to it as possible, because like if there's ever a break, like coming back to it's gonna be hard. Now that being said, there's a really nice like refresher section of this game, because I think it knows that people are going to take breaks obviously and come back at some point. So like you could just be like, how do you fight, and just like click on a tutorial and it'll just like take you through the basics again, and like it's really easy. It just drops you right into a tutorial. So like that exists at least, but like I know it's still kind of a barrier. We all have this problem, guys, where we like leave a big game and come back and it's like, this feels complicated and weird. I don't know if I like this anymore.
Just especially JRPGs or just anything that's like a big world, again, with a lot of systems.
Even your Witchers and your Skyrims and stuff like that, like just coming back and being like, how do you craft? Can you blacksmith in this game? There's a lot of questions like when you return back to a big game. So I'm really enjoying it. Dan, if you ever get through this series, I think you'll really enjoy it. I know we have someone in our group right now going through the first game. Is it Clayton? Someone in our group is going through it.
I think so.
And I know it seems like he's really enjoying the first game. The story is very good in that game. So you have someone who's going through all the games like you're trying to, or you're going to attempt to. I'm pretty interested for more people to try it. This is a cool game where when you think about it, it's like, this game would be super awesome on the PS5. Boy, it would look so pretty. Oh my gosh, wow. 60 frames per second, 120 hertz maybe, I don't know. That seems awesome, but there's something to just being able to play this game on the go while I'm on the porcelain pew, while I'm on a break at work, while I'm sitting around watching New Girl again, while I just want to play a game while I watch that show, which is kind of falling apart towards the end of the series.
The Wiz Palace. The Wiz Palace, that's the other name.
So it's like it's nice to be able to like have that option and just kind of like chip away at it like on the go, and for something to be so big and play so well on this thing. It's black magic, guys. I have no idea how they pulled this off.
The size of the Monolith, the developer, which is they helped with Breath of the Wild, which makes sense when you look at the scope of the world. It's like I don't know how they do this nonsense. Like, how do they create and isn't this game like 2 times the size of the second one?
5 times the size.
5 times. Oh my!
And the second game was so big that I quit playing. I was like, I can't play this game. Yeah, so
that's too much, man. That's too much.
That's why you need GPS markers, baby. Anyways, I'm really enjoying this game a lot. I'll probably be talking about it pretty hard in the Game of the Year award ceremony that we do every year. So I'm not talking top 5 or anything like that, but like enough where I'll be like, guys, it's good. Again, the characters are real good, so I'm excited.
So are they like anime tropey? Because I know people were like kind of like, okay. But like if you're into that,
like
then...
Monolith kind of has like their own tropes for like their anime stuff because like they're like real British, you know, they're real bottle people. You know what I'm saying? You know,
it's so damn thirsty.
They're so thirsty. I even said in chat where I was like, someone said bottle like we say on the podcast, or. Well, I think the little situation is just like you know, I'm so posh. Anyone has a bottle? You know, they couldn't have been bottle of water, but like she said bottle like that. Like,
all right. So can I just let you guys know I actually did VO for the game and I was that character.
Oh wow, damn! Now that I'm closing my eyes, I can hear you. Anyways, I hope more people get to it by the time we talk at the end of the year because I think this is kind of a big underdog, even though calling Monolith an underdog is kind of silly because I think they usually get their accolades.
I mean,
they usually get their hat tips, you know. So
especially now, and again because they helped literally on a mainline Zelda game, like that's definitely something to brag about. So
it's interesting that Nintendo would turn to them and go, "Hey, guys who knock this out of the park all the time, can you help us with this?" You know, how humble of them.
Yeah.
It's not really Nintendo's bag. They're like, "We got this. You know, we'll take care of it." You know, so it's cool for them to reach out. Because the last time they did it was Metroid, and that did not go well for them. So.
So. Yeah, no, it did not.
No, it did not. Who is playing Sakuna? Of Rice and Ruin.
I did finish it, yes. So I
finished it. Wow, okay, cool.
Yeah, I brought this up a few weeks ago, and I liked the second half more than the first one. I still think it's just a pretty okay game, unfortunately, because I was actually really excited to play this for a while. I was like waiting for it to be on a good sale, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna nab this at 20-something bucks, and really get into this. And I mean, there are some like good moments, but I think it's mostly just okay. I think there's just kind of a lot going on where they don't really do a lot of explaining of certain things. Yeah. And like so as far as the farming, because you're basically just farming rice. And I think I had mentioned this last time. It's not as like structured as it is with like say like a Harvest Moon or a Stardew Valley. You don't have like a grid that you sort of like almost like kind of, you know, just drop right into that box and it's like nice and neat and you're kind of doing like a 9x9 grid. It's not so much like that. It's just basically your character moves around and you kind of just like drop the seeds and it's like it's all zigzaggy and messy, which doesn't sound like a big deal, but like I kind of have OCD and that kind of just bothers me.
You're actually describing a nightmare to me right
now. But yes, so like little things like that, or like you can like parry in the game, which I don't even think I really realized until I accidentally did it like maybe like 10-15 hours into the game. And it seems like you can parry in like different ways, but like there wasn't a moment where I was like, oh, you did a parry, let's tell you how to parry. It just kind of happened, and I don't even, there's nothing in the like menus if you hit pause to like kind of like check what that is. There is like a practice room where you can do kind of practice combat. But I just didn't really feel like going in there, so I guess that's on me. So I'm sure obviously it would break that stuff down a bit better. But I just feel like in the moment where these things are happening in the game, that there's just really no explanation for a lot of these things. So, but yeah, it just kind of feels like a clunky game. The movement when you're doing the combat doesn't feel super great. Like I think Sword and Fairy feels better to kind of move around and dash around and do that sort of thing. Than this game does. But I think it is a charming game. I think it visually does look pretty nice. I do like the sort of style, the style of the characters. The last boss fight, the way that boss looks is insane though. Like it's a super sick looking boss. Like it's one of the coolest like final bosses like visually that I've ever seen. It's super rad. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I kind of had some expectations with the game. I think I was going to play a bit more fluid of a side-scrolling action RPG type of game, and it's just not quite there for me. And I think the farming mechanics are just not really super good and doesn't feel good to do. Like it's not fun if you're into farming Sims type of stuff.
Nope.
No. Nope.
That's a hard no.
Well, that's one of the main things you're doing. It's literally called Rice and Ruin. You're growing rice. You're a rice god,
and then you're ruining it.
Or you're a harvest god. You're the daughter of a war god and a harvest god, essentially. So yeah, you're booted down to this island because some shenanigans happened at the capital where all the gods kind of hang out. So you're thrown down there with some humans, and then
yeah.
the story kind of just goes on. But yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Cool.
And I think there are better side-scrolling action RPGs, to be honest with you. So
Kyle's talking.
Kyle's muted. Kyle's muted.
Quietly.
You muted yourself.
In Skype.
Congrats, you played yourself.
I got it. Yeah, I got it. Hold on. I got it.
You got it.
Okay, so has anybody else played anything else?
I played games with some hearts.
Kingdom Hearts?
No.
Yeah.
With people.
Yeah.
What?
It's a joke about dating or something. But it's not true. I just said it.
He's playing a game of hearts. Okay.
I'm playing games with some hearts when I should quit playing games.
Quit playing games with my love.
With hearts.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah.
Sorry, that fell flat. Please, for the love of God, edit that out. Somebody edit that out.
No. We're keeping that.
Tim, you leave it right there.
Damn it. No,
you leave it right there.
I wish I could blame it on the gummy, but it hasn't hit yet. So I don't.
Yeah.
You could just say it. It's actually
that's just regular me.
Edit that out.
That's the bummer.
Edit that out and just be like, I'm tripping balls, man.
Let's talk about bits for a second, guys. No. Let's move on. Let's move on to what we're watching. I'm also playing little stuff. I'm playing Final Fantasy X again because I hate my life.
Yes.
And,
No. You don't. You love your life, Kyle, because that game.
Yeah, I do. It's pretty great. I'm replaying a few other things as well, but my Switch is just getting a lot of attention right now. So I'm happy about that. But let's move on to stuff that we're watching. Lots of stuff came out this week.
Actually, can we spend like a half hour talking about the Titus laughing scene, or can we?
I actually want to spend a half hour talking about you bringing up the Titus laughing scene, and then we can move on to talking about it specifically. Yeah, but that game is awesome. I don't know.
I know it really is.
It opens. It's a hardcore opening too for a Final Fantasy game.
It's such a strong first game of them doing. I know obviously compared to nowadays, the VO isn't excellent compared to what is available, but it's not awful. And it was their first try. It was their first out the gate, coming out.
Really big swing, and they knocked it out of the park. So. I think we got to move on before Jeff kills himself here. So
I don't know what you're talking about.
Before his heart explodes.
I am so overwhelmed with joy that you guys are discussing this very
I doubt that.
Thing.
I can feel it and see it.
I love it.
Put a bullet in my heart and tell me about Bullet Train.
Speaking of seeing it, that's a segue. I'm a professional.
Oh man,
how is
Tim
Bullet
wishes
Train...
he could do that? He could do it.
Tim's
well.
Tim's way better at it than me. Yeah, I have it here, Jeff, right here at the documents here. You watched Bullet Train, the new Brad Pitt movie that it's a hunky boy in love with a girl movie, right?
No, not at all.
No? Not even kinda? Okay.
Not even a little bit. This is an ensemble action. Is it fair to call it mystery? There's some mystery elements. This is an action movie. It's the ensemble's pretty deep and thick. That's what she said. You got Brian Tyree Henry in it. You got Aaron Taylor Johnson. Other three named actors. No. Yeah, that's Quicksilver. He didn't see that coming.
You didn't see that coming.
You got Joey King in there, the dude from Warrior, whose name I can never remember, the lead guy.
He's in this? Oh man.
Yeah. And then of course the Japanese guy from Westworld, whose name I think his last name's
I sadly always call him Yu-Gi-Oh because that's his name in The Last Samurai. So
yeah. He's in it too. He plays the guy from Warrior's dad. And Michael Shannon shows up. There's some great cameos too from there's some crossover, not the same characters, but there's some crossover actors that show up from The Lost City in this movie, and it feels like they were maybe shooting those movies on the same lot or something because they kept showing up in each other's movies. Yeah, Brad Pitt's I'm gonna go do that movie. Hey, Brad Pitt. Hey.
I'm Brad Pitt.
That's a very good Brad Pitt.
In fact, can you edit that out? Can we edit that?
Yeah, just edit everything I'm saying out.
Note to editor. Can we?
It's a really fun zany action movie. It's kind of got this visual flair to it where it's all the action or pretty much most of the movie takes place on this bullet train in Japan, and every car
that's the name of the movie.
That's the name of the movie. It sure is, sir.
It's the prop.
So
it's
every car, or at least there's a couple cars that have their own theme going on. One of them is has like a mascot in it from like a Japanese
I've seen that on the
kids show
poster.
And like it's like a big fluffy outfit, and Brad Pitt, the first time Brad Pitt encounters it, he's got a briefcase in his hands, and the mascot's trying to take the briefcase. And so there's this visual of him punching the mascot, and it's a big floofy mascot outfit, so it's like his fist like punching air, basically.
Sure.
I love it.
It's such a great visual, and you hear like it's so good.
I'm here for
there's so many great comedic beats like that too, but at the same time, it's not humor that you can't predict. You know, like a lot of it feels very not safe because it is an R-rated movie, but it feels like something that they kind of went for the easy joke, and sometimes it lands extremely well, and sometimes you're like, all right, like you see characters standing there too long talking, something's gonna happen to them. They're gonna either get hit by a car, get stabbed. You know, if they start monologuing, just expect something to happen to their head. I don't know.
But I mean,
they do some of that stuff, that predictable formulaic stuff in action comedies, but it is still very entertaining. And the story gets a little convoluted, but that's only because they're Tarantinoing the situation a little bit, where they go, "Oh man, I remember that guy from back in Bolivia," and then it cuts to there's a flashback in Bolivia, and it's very like hyper quick edited, but it's like it's not quick edited like a Michael Bay movie where it's intentionally the entire movie and all the action sequences. It's like it's supposed to be like stylistic and like you know, kind of like it reminded me of Smoking Aces a little bit, like how
they would say Smoking Aces
yeah.
is the vibe I get when I watch a trailer for this.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if you were to tell me this was a spiritual successor to Smoking Aces, I'd be like, okay, yeah.
Is it the same director?
No.
It's a director of
Deadpool
Atomic
2.
Blonde. Yeah.
Okay. Deadpool 2 director, yeah. And
yeah,
Atomic Blonde.
Yeah, and the Atomic Blonde side of him shows up for this movie more than the Deadpool 2 director, I will say. Actually, it's a good combination of both, because the humor is very similar to Deadpool 2.
I was hoping so.
But it's not as funny. I wouldn't say it's as funny, but the humor is there, like Deadpool 2. And the visual style and some of the like bright neon cars and stuff, very reminiscent of Atomic Blonde.
Yeah.
There's one car too, or at least there's one period of time in one car where it's supposed to be quiet from midnight to 6 a.m. And that's when Brad Pitt and Brian Tyree Henry start like fighting each other and stuff, and they're trying to do it all quiet. It's so freaking funny.
Sure. I love it.
They showed some of that in the trailer, but it goes on way longer, and it's so man, it's very funny. And Brad Pitt's character is he's a snatch and grab type contract, not killer necessarily, but he's killed some people before when the job calls for it. So he's kind of like everybody on the train that is present is basically an assassin, just I guess kind of going with that knowledge. So he's trying to reform a little bit. He's been studying a lot of like Zen crap and like yoga and stuff. Like he's trying to center himself. So like it's funny to have that type of personality in this environment where, especially when like Bad Bunny, who's a rapper, by the way, and nobody here listens to him. Why would you? He's Spanish speaking. No. He's like one of the biggest like musicians period for like Mexican, like Hispanic speaking people. Like you get so many hits on Spotify. But anyway, he shows up and starts attacking Brad Pitt, and Brad Pitt's fighting him, and he's like, I don't even know you. It's such a great fight.
That's funny.
And he's trying to be chill the whole time too, and be like, this is not cool. I don't even know you. Like, and the guy's like, yeah, I'm getting my revenge on you. He's making this big speech about how he's the hero of the story, trying to kill Brad Pitt. And Brad Pitt's like, who are you, bro? Like, I don't. It's such a great fight.
I'm here for it.
And then it ends very comically. This is my type of action comedy movie. Like it's good, man. It's like the Gray Man type action. The action's a little better and the comedy's a little better than Gray Man. But
I was gonna say visually, this looks like something that's just more fun to watch. I think maybe just because of the colors and the setting.
And the cameos just don't stop. Like it'll be like 30 minutes, and every 30 minutes there's some cameo, or maybe even 20 minutes. There's some cameo or some actor that shows up that wasn't in the movie before. That you're like, holy crap, they're in this too. Like it's pretty crazy how deep that cast goes. It's great. Good job, David Leitch, I think his last name is.
Yeah, that's how I pronounce it. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, good for him, man. I think he scored another movie too recently with like another ensemble cast. I can't remember what it is, but I'll watch anything he does at this point because I know he helped with the first John Wick. Speaking of segues, and
John Wick.
and now he's doing Atomic Blonde, or he did Atomic Blonde, Deadpool 2. He did Hobbs and Shaw. We don't talk about that. And then he produced Nobody. I could swear he was announced for another movie. It might have been a Will Smith movie, but obviously that's kind of not going that far. So he's going to direct some movie for Universal Pictures starring Ryan Gosling. I don't know if it's an action movie or not. A stuntman drama. Whatever. I thought there was something else coming out for him. Anyway, that's it. And he did, like I said, he helped out with the first John Wick. So somebody here see the John Wick?
So has someone here seen John Wick lately? I don't know. I'm just probing here.
Speaking of Smoking Aces, which Common is in the second one. So.
He is.
Smoking Aces, great movie, by the way.
I love that movie.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes.
Huge fan of that movie.
Great movie. Also a pretty awesome ensemble cast, right?
Yeah,
I remember that all sorts of
Bullet
people.
Train. Yeah. Everything you said about Bullet Train, I was like, this is just the new. This is this generation Smoking Aces. I'm here for.
Yeah.
Yep. And you know what? Chris Pine was in that movie before he was like a famous guy. Like he was
one of the
He was
brothers.
one of the brothers. Yep.
Yeah.
The Tremor brothers.
All right, so hold on. Could you just ask? Could you ask me again if I've watched the John Wick 2 and 3?
Has anyone here seen John Wick maybe 2 or 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Man,
people keep asking me if I'm back.
Well, I'm back. Oh man. Yeah, I mean these movies, like you guys had said, they're just so much fun. I do like the third one more than the second one. I think Jeff,
people do, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I do.
All right.
Yeah.
There's definitely there's like a kinetic energy with the third one that the second one didn't quite have. But it was still a really good fun movie.
Two has a lot of really great set pieces.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of lulls in between those set pieces that aren't as interesting, and I feel like the third movie maybe handles those lulls better because they don't feel like lulls; they feel like necessary moments of gathering your breath. So it's taken away immediately.
Yeah, like when he goes to the doctor at the beginning, when he's talking. With,
but it's like that's like a 3-minute scene.
When he's preparing at the Continental with those guys, like they're talking about their plan. It's like it's clearly building up to something else.
That's the thing I like about the second one a lot. They have the gun sommelier there, or they have just the sommelier. And that's my favorite scene in maybe all 3 movies is where he's like, I need something.
Sarah Fitowitz, I think.
I need something robust. He's like, robust. Yes,
like actually talking like it's wine. Like
it's so amazing. It's my favorite scene in the entire series. But that's one of the better uses of lull moments in the second movie. I think I think we're all in agreement that the third movie handles that a little better.
Yeah. But that whole section of the second one is really awesome. Like, so he does that whole thing to go to that like party, which is in like some like ancient Rome like ruins or whatever. And he's leaving guns in all these strategic places because he knows he's like, I'm gonna be right here and obviously grab that gun right at that moment, right? I just know that's gonna happen. So
he's planning it out, you know. He's creating the scene.
But like the music, that there's like a concert going on, and I kind of was digging the music too. But then like once shit hits the fan, like he's shooting to like the beat of the music, and it's just really kinetic.
Editing,
and, it's just really bombastic. And
he gets that shotgun out and starts blowing off.
Oh my god,
dude! Yes. And it's again, like this is the second, like that scene's amazing.
Yeah,
the way that he's using that shotgun and just like again, he's cocking it to the beat of the music too. Like you know, it's great, dude. It's super. Good.
But like, I like this. So it kind of really feels like these are 2 halves of a whole movie, because it's like the second one ends and then the third one starts, and it's just boom. It's like he's like running because like something happened.
And they're literally counting down to the thing that the second one like dropped off at. Yeah.
Excommunicado.
Yeah, excommunicado.
Just say excommunicated. Just say. It's not cool.
They're wearing 50s diner dress girls. Like, of course, they're gonna be fucking weird about it the entire movie.
But like, it's just so frantic in that first like half hour, dude. It's just like, it's like, how did he just not pass out from like, obviously the dude's exhausted from the stuff that was happening before in 2, and then he goes into 3, and he's like, the chasing is happening, and it's just like, it's just freaking intense. And then he's got that fight in that room with all the knives, dude.
And the third one at the very beginning, that scene is so good. It's one of my favorite action sequences of all time because it's comical and like brutal and just really well orchestrated. But like, they start breaking in like the glass and throwing knives at each other, and they're using like henchmen to like his body bag. It's just it's so
as soon
amazing.
as he walked into the room, I'm like, oh man, there's a fight here.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
And then the one where he's like throwing the knives and it keeps on hitting like in between the guy's legs until it finally hits him in the groin, and you're just like it's coming, but you're still like
and then he throws it right at his head, and I think that's the end of the fight. Like so good.
I was gonna say the angle of that too is so sick, because it's like, so the guy's like sitting here and Keanu's all the way down the hall, and like the camera's like off to the side, and you just see it flying like from this perspective towards you, but like it's just like
that's what makes the cinematography so top notch compared to other action movies, like. Because he knows exactly where to put the camera as a stunt person. Because the director's a former stuntman. He knows how to film the action to make it like watchable from the angle, from the audience's perspective. You can understand the geography of everything that's happening.
Yeah.
It's just so freaking good, man.
And just like I think you guys said too, like just like the unintentional humor of like certain moments. Like, so he fights that bald guy at the end, right? And they're kind of just like sitting side by side, obviously you know what's happening there. And the guy's just like, oh man, that was a really good fight.
Yeah,
that was a good fight. Right?
I love him.
And Keanu's like,
Mark Dacascos in the third movie is so amazing because he's got so much respect for John Wick.
Yeah.
He's a fanboy.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is that
the
two guys were even bigger fanboys. I like that a lot.
Oh yeah,
they
the
like help
two guys.
They're like, it's an honor to fight you, John.
I love that.
And then they go to help
from the raid guys. Like I just
that was the raid
so
guys.
Cool. Yeah.
They really made that scene pop, and Mark Dacascos sitting there. I'll catch up with you, John. I'm gonna just sit here for a second.
Yeah, I'm just gonna sit here for a second. But I like the way that Keanu delivers that. Yeah, he's like,
yeah.
Sure.
It's like,
sure.
Yeah.
These are your last words, so
different kind of Yeah.
There's just a lot of great moments in these two movies. I like in the second movie, him and Common having that like silencer fight where they're like shooting silencers at each other.
That's such a great scene.
It's so casual, and like if you know anything about guns, like silencers are very loud. It sounds like what it sounds like. It sounds like a gunshot going off, even with the silencer on. But like it doesn't matter. Like you just like.
Right.
It's the style of the scene of it just being funny, and just seeing like even just random people getting shot and just like debris going up everywhere. But like it's funny, Like,
it happens often in like there are moments where like Keanu will come up to somebody and he'll just like, I swear there was one shot, I think it was the one where like he just kind of grabs somebody and he like slices their throat, but it's like in a crowded area and everyone's just still walking. Like it's like, what? Like how is no one acknowledging this man just and just sliced his throat?
People are in their own world. Like I bet he would get away with it, to be honest.
Sure. Yeah. It's not anything to like think too much on. It's just funny.
It is super funny because a lot of this stuff is very public, and it's just this world is just happening on top of it,
Right. And, they're not super thinkers or anything. These movies aren't like kind of like making you be like, oh, I'm pondering this thing. They're just super fun. Just like the cinematography is fantastic.
I mean, the guy like rides a horse and like kills people with katanas in this movie.
Sure.
It's not, you're not showing up to like you said, like really bring your Shakespearean
No.
Because
people bust Keanu's chops about his acting, and it's like, listen, man, whatever. Like the bottom line is
Keanu knows how to turn it up when he turns it up. Like
absolutely.
I feel like he does know how to act. It's just a lot of times he's asked to play Joe Everyman's, and so
sure.
His subdued stuff is the thing that everyone makes fun of. But like when he delivers stuff like I love it. I don't know. That's Keanu to me.
I mean,
that's why I bought the ticket.
Yeah.
These movies are playing to his strengths and his weaknesses. So.
Yes.
Right.
Big time. Yeah.
We're leaning into it and kind of making it not a parody, but like an homage to his weaknesses.
An homage with slight satirical elements.
They're like winking at it a little bit. Yeah.
I feel like there's some nudging for sure.
Yeah.
But just shout out to like Morpheus just being here, and like now we're going into the fourth one. It's
He's
like,
so
dude,
I'm
so
over the top.
I'm so pumped.
It's like they just told him. It's like, you know how you did Morpheus? Do that, but times 10.
Remember the speech you gave Zion?
Yeah,
do
like
that
11
in every line
constantly, but like do it breathy too.
Yeah.
Oh, John. You know?
Dude, I swear to
John Wick.
I swear to God, if he doesn't say machines in the fourth one, I'm burning everything.
Yeah, at this point, if Carrie-Anne Moss doesn't show up, I'm
walking.
Yes,
absolutely, absolutely.
At this point, she has to show up. You know,
absolutely.
She got into Matrix shape to at least deliver one kick in that movie. You could now let's take that shape. Let's put her in John Wick. You know.
Yeah. You know what?
Absolutely.
Why not just have her fly in the last movie, in the last scene, and just go, "Oh, Neo, it's time. The simulation's over. It's time to go." And then it's boom. They're all Matrix movies.
It was all Matrix movies. You were watching Matrix all along, everybody.
And you said the Matrix sucks, so you're stupid.
Suck on that.
And he flies away.
I don't know, man. The actions and resurrections. I don't know, man. You know.
Oh.
I don't know, man.
It's just. You can only see him do this for.
Where he just does this over and over again. Oh, I don't know.
And now she's the one also.
Oh yeah, okay. Woke culture. Anyways, I'm really glad you like John Wick. You'll be able to watch 4 with the rest of us now, like more like a normal human being. You were the only person on Earth to not see these movies, so
I'm gonna give it like 2 years until I see the 4.
Whatever. If that's what you're fine. Whatever.
If you don't see it in the theater opening night, you are kicked off this podcast. Listen, I don't make the rules, except I just made them.
I hate people. I hate people. And theaters are full of people, so.
I'm not a huge fan either.
Trust me, as a person who is part of people, I don't like it either, so we're good.
All right, we're on the same page.
I'm just kidding. We're best friends. Guys listening, we're best friends. All of us are best friends. Just one
okay.
No, I mean, settle down.
It's super fun movie. Super fun movie.
Yeah, I'm glad you liked them. I'm glad you caught up. That's super awesome. Any reason to talk about those movies? Again, they are the cornerstone of what modern day action is, in my opinion. And everyone who's like a gun person or whatever who like takes it out on these movies,
dude.
You're pointing your anger at the wrong thing. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
This is just a movie, so
shout out to the gun scenes, dude.
I don't think it glorifies anything about gun culture or anything like that. I think it's just
it makes everything look dangerous. These movies make pencils look dangerous. So
he uses a pencil. He kills someone with a pencil.
He kills somebody with a book.
He kills so many people with things that shouldn't kill people. So that's what the movie opens.
He plays some abs too. Yeah.
He was a big fan.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's exaggerated. It's whatever. I mean, like, how many movies in existence have guns in it? Like, who cares?
I do this all the time. I was like, well, you can't say you like Star Wars or Star Trek or anything. Like, if you don't like guns, you have to cascadingly not like guns across the board. You can't pick and choose.
Yeah. But they will.
But they will. Don't go watch war movies. You're not allowed to like those guns. Anyways,
don't watch gun
everybody.
Documentaries. Not allowed to like them. Guns are in the gun documentaries.
To avoid a Twitter canceling adjacent conversation that is the gun control problem, I'm gonna move us on to a movie that has very little guns. Jeff and I saw it. It's called Prey.
Oh, sure.
You're not wrong. The only person that had guns they were kind of like makeshift guns that the Predator had from his advanced alien.
And there's some trappers there that had some guns, but they're powdered.
You're right. You're right. When we
barely.
Finally did get a different I'm trying to spoil what happens in the movie.
You see that in the movie, the trailers though. Like you see the other
you do?
dudes. Yeah. You see because I remember them going. I was like, what people? The real enemy.
What
I remember
people?
saying that watching the trailer.
Colonizers.
Yeah. Colonizers ruin it for everyone. Anyways, guys, we're talking about Prey. This is a sequel / prequel to Predator. Maybe you've heard of it. Arnold Schwarzenegger, he started in one of those. Danny Glover, I don't know. You guys heard of him? He's too old for this shit.
Nope.
He fought a Predator. Adrian Brody, he was a pianist. He
was a pianist.
He fought a Predator.
Yeah.
My understanding is that Adrian Brody's a big pianist too.
Huge pianist.
I've heard things, yeah. Anyways, it's been a long time since anyone has seen it. Oh, and Olivia Munn was in a Predator movie with one of the Key and Peele dudes.
That was the last one, right? That
was unfortunately.
There's some nice homages to like comic book readers and stuff like that, but like I don't know who the hell that movie was for, to be honest. So because I enjoyed parts of it, but like that's because I grew up reading a lot of Predator like stuff. So it's like, hey, look, there's dogs. They have those dogs that they use in the comics, but that movie was awful.
So I did not know that, and I had said this in the chat. I was like, oh, this is a movie. I in my head I thought show because of Hulu.
Because it's Hulu.
Yeah. That makes sense. I
it's
feel
a movie.
that.
So
it is a movie. It feels like a movie. It feels very high budget. It feels like we're getting away with something watching this one at home. To be honest, I don't feel like anything.
Yeah, I would have bought. I would have seen this if this were showing in theaters the same night as Bullet Train Thursday night. I would have seen Prey over Bullet Train. Like I would have easily seen this movie in a movie theater. Like it's
This was
no brainer.
This was a real visual experience for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of Revenant vibes in terms of like
the sound design has to be immaculate in a movie theater.
The sound was so good, and the music was amazing. There's multiple times where the music swells up, and I'm like, oh boy, this is a real movie. People spent money on this. Like it wasn't generic, canned, B-roll
like Batgirl.
We'll get
too soon. Too soon.
We're gonna get to that, my friend.
Sorry, too
but
soon.
yeah, I really enjoyed this movie a lot. I've seen it twice already. I thought it was fantastic. It's been a long time since anyone's had a Predator movie that like you could just watch and go, yeah, I got no notes. I got no notes on that.
Yeah,
other than wow. Even Predators, which I really like with Adrian Brody and Spider Boy Venom. Was it Topher Grace? That 70 Shows kid. Like, that movie had a wild cast to it. It had some really good things working for it, but there was still you were like, like they kind of dropped the ball in some moments. And all the AVP movies are awful. I literally have no notes for this movie. They made a better movie than the movie that I had in my head. Which remember, we all do that. And we all put things on pedestals, and we all have better visions of things in our head. This superseded Kyle's brain. You know what I mean? Like in terms of like what I wanted from a Predator movie. And just the amount of practical effects that were going on in this movie, even though there's plenty of CG going on, but like everything looks good. Even
the Predator himself they kept that practical for the most part.
Yeah.
And so like it's a guy in a suit, it's a giant guy in a suit, and I feel like they killed that. Like I loved his helmet. That felt like very true to like that era of the world. Like so that was kind of cool to see that the alien culture was kind of changed their look over time too.
Yeah, they were growing as well.
Yeah, exactly. So like there's like little things like that, and I just it's like the two characters that we're mainly following, which is the main girl, I forget her character's name, played by Amber Midthunder, who was in Legion. We're following her and Predator more or less. I mean, he's pretty much the second character.
He is. Yeah,
and his behavior is getting more and more angry and he's getting more like what's the word I'm looking for? Impulsive with his actions. And she is getting more patient and learning from her mistakes as like a hunter. So I found that to be like that juxtaposition to be super freaking interesting.
But they're both on, and this is not a spoiler, I don't think, but like they're both on a same journey where as we know, predators come to Earth to hunt. And I think this might be the first predator to ever come here because he's scanning and observing everything. What's the pecking order here, So it's like, this mouse kills this ant, but this rattlesnake kills this mouse. So it's the apex predator out of this trifecta of animals, you know what I mean? But what kills the snake, So it's like he's going up the list of kills and stuff like that, trying to find the apex predator on the thing. But the Comanches, they have their own way of life where it's a hunter has to hunt something that's hunting them for them to be graduated as a real hunter. So they're both going through the same story, the predator and the main girl, and it's a mirrored story of these two hunters hunting hunters, and there's a lot of really cool, shots of just how things like how the predator handles something, and they'll kind of transition to how like the girl is handling something, and they're very similar, even though they might be generations of technology apart. Like there's still a lot of similarities there of how they're like. Taking care of their stuff, of their issues and everything.
But it's interesting, this movie, how much personality they gave the actual Predator. I can't remember that ever happening before. Granted, there are many Predator gaps in my knowledge. Like I haven't seen Predator 2. Predators, the one.
No, they've never had like a personality. Brody, I don't think.
I haven't seen AVPs, so like I don't really know what that's like either. But yeah, this one felt like he had a lot of personality in terms of like how he was handling his food, which is not really food. It's like how he was like killing his prey. And how showy he was getting at some points, and how confident a little too confident that like you could feel him getting more agitated the more he was getting one-upped a little bit with each encounter.
Because in Predator lore, he would be an adolescent.
So mad, he was like,
So he would be an adolescence, he'd be a coming of age, person in that community, in the Predator community. So it's like, and it's showing that like, well, she might be a little more patient and mature he's a little more immature, and impulsive, like Jeff was saying, So again, the parallels in this movie between the Predator culture and what we know of Comanche Nation culture, was really cool to see those parallels.
Such a refreshing movie on the Comanche perspective. Like, we only really ever get one version of that story, and it involves Kevin Costner befriending some tribes.
Yeah,
that's that's really the kind of version of this story this only peek into this culture that we tend to get. So like, I think I don't know, I thought it was really fascinating what Dan Trachtenberg and the writers managed to come out with. Like,
it felt very authentic.
It did. It felt like they did their homework, and even though granted they were speaking English, but sometimes they threw in genuine Comanche, and there is a Comanche dub. I don't know. I felt like all the ritualistic stuff it felt practical, if that makes sense. Like, it felt like something that they would or might still do. Like, I mean, they didn't feel like crazy savages or whatever that was the thing that Hollywood tends to do with Comanche.
You see this tribe ingenuitive and smart and living, like in a way that I feel is a good way to represent, this tribe, So they weren't savages. I kind of like how we were talking about in the chat, like they were intelligent people who knew how to live who were masters of living in the domain that they were in. So which
and then it really wasn't until the French a-holes showed up that you started to see some savagery from humans, like.
And that's the other thing is like that's
Europeans, man.
You also never get to understand anything that they're saying because they're the true aliens of that land, So like you never see any like English translations from them. So even if you have the subtitles on, the subtitles are in French.
I had the subtitles on just in case.
So I thought that was a real and that's like the level of detail in this movie that I find so attractive to me is like even that where it's like it's trying to convey to you that like, hey, the one thing that may look familiar to you, these whiteys, they're still the most foreign thing in this entire movie to these worlds. So we're going to keep them in their native land, and you're never going to understand what they're saying because they're so foreign to this world and this story and everything like that.
So are we
really good detail,
Are we to understand that those bear traps were theirs? Because I would assume
I would say so.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're
something
trapped.
out of metal that wouldn't be something that Comanche made.
No, that's what she even like looks at it inquisitively whenever she's like taking it off the dog,
You're right, yeah.
So yeah, those were all the trappers from the traps from the trappers,
Yeah. I love, by the way, the bear scene is just killer. That justifies the entire movie to me. Like just that.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so
Again,
great.
another moment of just like, wow, like we've seen a lot of really bad CG lately, guys, and this is not this is not one of those.
Does this top the DiCaprio bear scene?
It's on the levels of intensity, I would say.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah.
Ooh, the Revenant. I don't know, man. That's a tough one because that scene is 13 minutes long, and the bear keeps coming back, and you're like, stop coming back. Like
this is a more condensed version of that, but like there's some visual aspects of it where you're just like, wow, this was really worth the price of admission.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I love the scene too where she runs with her brother. They're running across the field together. Or one of her tribesmen. I don't think it was a tribesman.
Yeah, it wasn't a brother.
It was just a tribesman, and they were running across the field together, away from the predator, and all you can see is it's almost like a drone shot,
an aerial shot.
An aerial shot of them running in the grass, and you see the weeds. Separating as they're running, and then you just see invisible like weeds separating much faster rate as it's coming towards them, and it's clearly the predator like just chasing them. Such a great visual.
It was Lost World Jurassic Park levels of like this is one of the best long grass scenes ever.
Yeah, don't run into the long grass.
Not the long grass. Don't run into the long grass.
Yeah, dude, the concept of a predator is just terrifying. Just this invisible assassin hunter, whatever, like just skulking, just sneaking around, like
Dan Trachtenberg even said they wanted to create a more feral animal with this version of the predator because in other versions of it, it always felt like a big. He called it a big wrestler in a suit lurking around, which it did feel like that usually.
Yeah.
So
that was the 80s movie standard kind of.
Yeah, and also like you really can't do some of the stuff that you need the predator to do. So in the first movie, it's alluded to that he travels by trees because that's where he dresses like all of his kills. And, You know, they can't really show in the 80s a guy jumping tree to tree because they were using a lot of practical effects back then. Now you can really show how this predator moves around, and it's way more animalistic and feral and stuff like that. To the point where you would, The Comanches, like they're pretty weirded out that this thing is here, but they're not overly like, they just think that it's like some weird animal,
that just exists in the world.
Yeah. So it's
which is terrifying,
which is pretty cool. Like it's not shaking them, which is really cool. So now you have like really good, what I would call red shirts that are here for the fodder for the Predator.
And,
like,
they do the trophy thing
like
that I mentioned. They do the trophy thing I mentioned in Bullet Train, where it's like somebody will be making a big speech, and you're like, you're about to get your face bitten off, dude.
Daggers are about to come from your chest here any second.
Yeah, that's what's so cool about like them choosing this time frame too. It's just the sort of minimalistic, like the weaponry and all that.
Always been
going against Predator.
Even the Predator's weaponry is
rifles and stuff, assault rifles, every single one of them.
Even the Predator stuff is a lot more, like he doesn't have laser-based weapons. His triangle thing, like they're like harpoons, and stuff like that. So it's not even like a laser-based weapons yet, So even they're more primitive, and they're wearing bone. Like it's not even a metal helmet, like it's a bone helmet. Like it's interesting to see that the Predators, were that much, less advanced, at this point in time as well. So,
or maybe it's because he's younger, so he doesn't get to have the more advanced stuff.
Younger, like ours is,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're just evolving a little quicker than us, but we were evolving quick too. We went from bow and arrows to cars, So.
And you know what? That was one of my favorite aspects of the movie too. Was like seeing her like on the run. She would like make a bow, or to see her, or the tribe, like they had a downed tribesman, and they came over and just made a stretcher. Out of trees and whatever, like they just
ingenuity. You see a lot of ingenuity.
You see that a lot in this movie from specifically from the Comanches' perspective, because that's their culture. Their culture is so in touch with nature, and like of course they're going to know how to do that. They have to know how to do that. So whereas Predator is just kind of there with his weapons to kick ass
by himself,
invisible. That's enough.
Well, that was the other thing, is that like there would be stretches of 15-20 minutes where like it was just only the Native American stuff, and then like the Predator would show up. I was like, oh yeah, we're watching a Predator movie. This is not just a really competent Native American Comanche story, because like there would be moments where I was just lost in just that portion of the story, and then it would snap too. You'd hear that.
That definitely speaks to the movie, though, because you literally just found that interesting. It literally took you out of like actually the sci-fi of what it's a sci-fi movie. Like
absolutely.
I did love watching the moments too where the Predator was like thinking about what he was going to do next. Like he's in the middle of having somebody in a very vulnerable position where he can easily just take off their head, and he like hears something and stops, and like there's thoughts going through his head. You're watching the machinations of the monster. Characterization of a Predator.
It's an hour and 35 minutes. You know what I mean? It's a very short movie. Yeah, I think it's an hour. I think it's like an hour 40 with credits.
Absolutely.
So.
Wow. That's what makes it a masterpiece.
Honestly. I'm gonna watch it after this, then. I'm gonna watch it.
You should. I think it's absolutely amazing. It's one of my favorite movies of the year.
I'm almost bummed out that it's not coming in theaters, so they can't like make some money off of it. Because I mean, it's like it's gonna rely on people having.
Me too. I hope that's not the message that gets learned from this. So it's like, like people are talking about it, but we didn't make any money off of it, so we're not gonna make more. Because there is a mid-credit sequence where you're like, oh yeah, I want more of this. This exact thing.
Are you talking about the artwork stuff, or?
Yeah, there's a thing at the end of the artwork where it alludes to more stuff going on.
Yep. Yeah, so definitely don't let the Hulu counter skip ahead to the next thing.
It will skip ahead and it will cut it off. It will.
Yeah, so definitely stick. Actually, pay attention to the artwork. It's like primitive, almost like caveman artwork or something.
Cave dweller paintings.
Yeah.
It's depicting the movie, and then it depicts a scene that didn't happen in the movie at the very end. And that's the mid-credit.
Is it dinosaurs? Is it dinosaurs?
It is dinosaurs. Yeah, they come back.
It's Chris Pratt doing this in front of dinosaurs.
And to the Predator. He does that to the Predator.
That's a great thing that didn't happen in this movie. Not once was there anybody like, let's put your hand in front of it.
Yeah,
not once.
It's blasted off.
But also, no one also goes, but Commander Dutch or something. He wasn't trying to,
No, you need to go see this guy. Dutch.
Great grandfather of Commander Dutch. It didn't try and do any of that. There is a really nice time. There is a really nice Easter egg that ties into something, but like,
there's
we can
a
talk
line
about
that they say that is like, that was.
Oh yeah, no, there is a very important line that's important to the saga of, but it like. I've seen this tactic used in other movies, and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters is a really
this
good.
This one was like,
when he says it, I go, yes.
Yeah.
It's not like really Ghostbusters where it's what was it?
I forgot what the.
It was you tell her they make a shout out to like, "Are you God?" or whatever, and then somebody finally goes, "Yeah," or whatever. There's like a long like speech.
Man, you guys hate that movie.
Thing, and I just hate the nostalgia bait for nostalgia bait. Like if there's actually like good stuff in that sandwich, in the nostalgia sandwich, I'm game. If you got all the right lettuce and pickles and shit, if you got all the right mayo mustard, I'm game.
Y'all picky about sandwiches.
Just want to give me nostalgia.
There's nothing picky about not liking a bad movie. You know?
Yeah.
So,
burn.
There's nothing picky about that.
Man, if Andrew is listening, I'm sorry.
I know some people were like 5 out of 5 or whatever.
You know what? I would really evaluate what you think good is if you gave that movie a 5 out of 5.
Damn, son.
Yeah.
Burn.
I said it.
It's no Lightyear though. It's no Lightyear.
No light. Hey guys. Hey, you guys. Can I just say something? It's no Lightyear. Let's move on to 13 Lives. It says here it's a new Ron Howard flick about the Thai cave rescue on Video Prime.
Oh wow.
Prime Video, yeah. It's on the Zon, as Kyle and I and our friend JD call it. It's on Amazon Prime, and this is about the Thai soccer team that got stuck in a cave after a monsoon type rain fall. So like, there's actually like a whole, as far as like local Thailand goes, like in the cave areas, because it's like, I think it's at the border of Thailand and some other country. They basically know that if it's forecasted to rain, they get heavy rains there. So don't go in the caves because they get flooded super fast. Like they get flash flooded. People can drown in there. People can die and stuff. So like, this was already established, but the soccer team was full of like kids, like 11 to 16. The assistant coach was super young too. He's like 17 or whatever. So like they were just like, they were just kids. They just went into the cave. They were just like whatever. And so that's what caused them to get stuck in the first place. Is like they were miles into this cave, like not even just like a few feet. It's fine, just swim a few feet. It's not that. It's like it took these divers like 7 to 8 hours to swim to them. Like it.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how far in the cave they were.
I don't know if I remember any of this.
Oh really? Yeah, I remember it being in the news for like a hot minute, especially after they got saved. That's a spoiler, I guess. You know, they got saved. It's
spoiler.
Fine.
Oh man. There's nothing really like better than the end of a story. A bunch of kids dying.
Right, a bunch of dead kids. Yeah,
a bunch of dead kids at the end of this road.
I think that's the most interesting part about the movie is like seeing people think they really had to MacGyver this situation. How are we going to get these kids out of there? They're not professional divers. They're just going to panic if they get oxygen put on them and they try to swim out for 8 hours. That's crazy. Yeah. We can't do this. Yeah. So seeing them have to MacGyver, I guess I can't think of any other way to describe it, a situation of like, how do we get these kids miles out of a cave?
Right.
Because it's going to rain again in like 4 days. What are we going to do? You know, they actually were running against the clock. It's a very real life story. So, I mean, this happened. Most of us that saw it on the news remember the ending. So that's really not why you're watching this movie. You're watching how did they get to that decision? How did the locals decide to call in these British divers to come in and help? They were professional like divers. Like they weren't even.
Didn't Elon Musk help with this too?
He might have. He might have given. Oh no, I remember what. Didn't he?
He built a submarine. I thought or something.
Didn't he say? Didn't he call somebody involved with the rescue effort a pedophile after they turned down his...
Yeah, I know. He definitely did that. That's a 1,000% happened. Yeah,
what?
Yeah.
I was like, that's such an Elon-ass thing to do. Oh, my God,
It's like that guy was getting more accolades for saving these people. And he was like, yeah, well, I heard he fucked kids, you know, like...
What the hell?
Why would you say that?
He's such an a-hole. Oh, man. You're right, though. I do remember that. And they just get... The thing is, they just got the kids out. They were like, it's fine. We got them out. Yeah. But it was pretty down to the wire, especially because the kids were in there for I think a week, 8 days. They were in there for a long time without food, and that's when they were finally found 8 days in. But then they had to wait another day for somebody to swing food to them. So, you know, they were in there for a while. Yeah, this is a really stressful story, man. Like, especially the way that Ron Howard filmed these.
Claustrophobic.
The underwaters. Yeah, the underwater scenes. Like,
I feel like I have an anxiety attack.
Yeah.
I mean, dude,
the caves aren't designed for. I mean, they're not man-made, so I mean, they're not designed for people to just walk through and shimmy.
But like,
they have to clear spots, like, clear out rocks and stuff to make room to swim through. Like,
I mean, imagine because we're just talking, but like 8 hours is a long time.
Yeah,
and it's one way, I'm guessing, right? 8 hours into the and then 8 hours back.
Way. Yeah, I think that's one way.
So
yeah, I think it's like.
I mean, imagine driving somewhere for 8
hours. Is like the amount of time I think it took the Thai rescue team of Navy SEALs. Like that's how long it took them because they have never really been prepared for this type of scenario. Like they have been prepared, but not for cave diving. That requires a different skill set. That's why they called in these other divers. That's insane. So those guys took them like 10 hours to get there, and they were like, "Oh, we're out of oxygen, so one of us has to go back." Yeah. So that's why they kind of resorted to calling these white saviors. They called in Viggo Mortensen is playing one of the guys. Colin Farrell's the other guy. Eventually, Joel Edgerton comes in as part of the plan to sedate all the kids as they swim them out. That ends up being one of like the possibilities they throw out there, and then that ends up being what really happened. And I'm like, whoa!
The second you'd be like, hey, we're gonna sedate you, and I'm gonna swim you out. I'd be like, just let me die here.
Exactly.
I'm actually not gonna let you do that. Yeah. So I'm actually at peace with just dying here.
I'd rather.
I mean, but then you would die in your sleep, right? So who cares? Let him sedate you.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it on my terms. No way.
And there were like.
So what happens if you don't get the right sedation levels because you're in a third world country and you're a tall American dude and you don't get the right you wake up halfway like through the swim back or whatever.
I think there was a kid that woke up. So
and have a good old freak out.
They had I don't want to say they had every worst case scenario that happened to them, but like there were some scenarios that was like, oh shit, this mask doesn't really fit his face, so I have to hold it while I swim him out.
Oh, gross, dude. Get out of here with all that. No way, man.
And then there was a kid that woke up halfway through, so they checked on him and they were like, let's give him a little more anesthetic, and like that knocked him out. And so like those moments do happen. Those moments of tension.
I'm getting a sweaty butt crack just thinking about
really
all this,
happen.
Man. I can't.
Like that's the thing you have to remember with this movie. Granted, there's some dramatization with some of the Thai citizen characters. Right. It's one of the people that plays the mother of one of the kids and stuff has drama with the governor, who's making all the calling all the shots. So like, there's some drama there that they might have inserted, but for the most part, all the big decisions and how the kids got there and how the kids got out, all of that happened. It's like that's the thing you have to remember watching this movie. That's what makes it even crazier. It's like people legitimately did this.
This sounds stressful.
I'll make an amendment though. If Aragorn from Lord of the Rings popped out and was like, "Come with me, I know how to get you out of here," I probably would go. I trust you. You know,
What if he turned back to you and was like, "For Frodo"?
Yeah, that was the suicide move in the movie. No, I don't say that before this.
Frodo.
That's the suicide.
Oh man, I just got like near tears and chills at you just saying that because I forgot about that line. I forgot about awesome. For Frodo. That's one of the biggest earned like battle lines. Period.
Dude, like just a small little chunk of an army surrounded.
Song kicks in.
Yeah, and they're just.
That really is up there with like Avengers Assemble. Like that is so.
Yeah,
it might
top
be the
tier
original,
battle line.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah,
it's just the little group there surrounded by like all of was it Sauron's army? Like,
Frodo. Oh man,
Aragorn. One of the greatest movies ever.
For real, dude. And Colin Farrell is so good. He's like more of the cheerier one, I guess you could say. Like when they found the kids, there were a couple English-speaking kids, and he was one of the ones assuring them, "Oh, we're all gonna get you out and stuff." And Viggo's character is like the one going, "Can you not say that? We don't know that we can get them out at all. Like we haven't discussed
keeping it real.
Trying to keep it real. Even the positive guys, I don't want him saving me. Like you're probably gonna die on the way back. I don't know what to tell you.
So like when Viggo Mortensen and Colin Farrell swim back and tell the town, "Hey, we found them alive," or actually they didn't even want to tell the town. Viggo Mortensen was like, "Don't show this tape to anybody. Let's keep this here." And then when the whole town found out, that's when his character was like, "We don't know how to swim them out. They're probably gonna die in there." Like, I mean, this is the news you're gonna have to end up breaking to like the entire world is that these kids are actually gonna die in there. Like, so that's where his brain space was at, and I totally get it. This is a good movie, dude. This movie's good. This is Ron Howard kind of getting out of the way of being a director and like just film what's happening. Like, and that's what
he would be the best person for the job for that type of thing.
Exactly.
Because
it's the Apollo 13 approach. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why that movie was. Yeah, just tell me what happened. You know, I think that's what he's best at. It's when he's asked more of. I'm just like, you're boring.
Yeah.
You're kind of boring.
Yeah, like anytime you ask him to adapt a big known franchise like Da Vinci Code or like Star Wars or whatever, like
we're gonna make all the safe decisions here.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Ron, thanks for showing up. You fired the Miller brothers for this? Okay,
yeah,
whatever.
Exactly.
Cool. Well, all right. I am gonna check that movie out.
Yeah.
From someone who like grew up watching like movies like James Cameron's The Abyss, which has a lot of like underwater suffocating scenes. Grew up watching a lot of these things that just make my skin crawl, and weirdly
this has got a few of those moments. Yeah,
I weirdly seek that stuff out. There's also that moment like in like The Gray, where that guy was like drowning underneath the tree, and the other guy doesn't understand why, and like there's all the like movies that can convey where it almost makes you feel like you're suffocating along with the characters.
The Descent.
Yes,
which also has the extra layer of terror because of
darkness
the
and
spooky
aliens
boys,
and monsters.
The spooky
and stuff.
boys in there, yeah.
What's the Buried? Buried did that really well with Ryan Reynolds literally he was in a box and they filmed it.
120 minutes of him just being
and I'm just like, this is the most riveting shit in the world. This is great, and I feel the claustrophobia.
Again, I like it when a movie can like shoot that out and project that experience onto its viewers. So,
it's so wild. I can't believe that was theatrically released. That screams Netflix movie all over it. Ryan Reynolds in a box for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
That's a Netflix movie. I ever heard one. Yet it came out in theaters, and people just watched the screen of him in a box.
New guy in a box.
Remember that 15-minute scene in Kill Bill 2 where she was in a box? It's that, but for 120 minutes.
Exactly. I can't recommend enough. There was a documentary about the Thai soccer team getting stuck in a cave. There was a documentary about that was released last year called The Rescue. It was totally robbed for a Best Documentary nomination. Like, it was one of those things where the Academy, like, it feels like they forgot about a movie and they just didn't get nominated or whatever. And you're like, how do you forget? This is like one of the best documentaries of the year. But the documentary is so good because obviously the divers had cameras on them or they were able to, but for the documentary they had to recreate a lot of instances that happened, like and the fact that they actually recreated it by diving and doing all the stuff for real. Like the documentary is so crazy, and it interviews all the people that are still alive, and it's very interesting. So I mean, it's a good companion for that. This is a good fictionalization because it fills in a lot of the local culture and stuff, like the Thai things that go on in Thailand and stuff, and the pecking order and how they greet people and pray and do like that's what the kids did in the cave. They prayed and like centered themselves or whatever, like meditated. Like they fill in a lot of those gaps, whereas the documentary was just about here's what happened, bro. And the movie's more like about painting a actual cinematic story. It's good, man. I was surprised. I expected it to just be pretty much that. Here's the story, but it turns out it's actually still a riveting story. It's still a riveting story, even though I knew everything about it. I'm impressed.
Well, cool. I think we got one more thing we've been watching here. Jeff and I have been watching The Sandman. It's
Mr. Sandman.
Neil Gaiman or Gaiman.
Gaiman.
No, not that. I didn't mean it like that.
I mean, is he gay?
I think it's Gaiman.
I don't know. Gaiman? I have no idea what it is.
It doesn't
matter. It's an adaptation of his much beloved graphic novel series that I have been suggested just my entire life.
It doesn't matter.
Wow. Off the rails. Hour and a half in. Off the rails.
I'm keeping it on the rails, guys. By screaming at everybody. But like I don't know what y'all's relationship with have y'all ever heard of this property?
Yes.
You know? Is it something that it's ever been suggested to you guys? You know, is this
a documentary about Darth Vader not liking sand or?
No, that's actually coming out next year, and it's called Dear Anakin, I'm Coming for You. So.
Does DMX do the song for that?
Yeah.
Because that just sounds like something DMX.
I'm coming for you. DMX is dead, so they had to recast him. But
the sand, it's all over me.
Fortunately, Ja Rule is
it's
still available, so he can just do the DMX thing. Ja Rule can do that. He's fine.
Ja Rule, yeah, that's true. Yeah,
he'll fill in the DMX gap and bark a little.
Yeah, it's semantics. Fire festival. Anyway,
murder. Yeah.
Sand is murder.
I have been suggested this property I feel like as long as I've been walking this earth, people are like,
have you
ever read The Sandman? I'm like, no, dude, I don't know. Reading's for nerds.
No. It is. It definitely is.
And I just never got around to it. So I know that Neil Gaiman's like a just masterclass storyteller. You know, I'm very aware of this. I'm very aware of this property. I just knew no specifics about it. So like I'm going in relatively fresh, even though like blind in a way, but like with expectations that are present just because there's been so much, you know, hype behind it all these years that like I know that like it has to deliver, or you're gonna have like a Wheel of Time situation where like half of your watchers like hate you and the other half, you know, love you. So it seems reviewer wise, I guess I haven't been on the internet yet, that like reviewers all really like it and are calling it a very faithful and great adaptation.
Yep.
Limited changes that are there.
I am shocked by this, honestly. Legitimately thought it was going to be a Cowboy Bebop situation.
Oh, same here, yeah.
Critics hated it and we loved it or whatever.
Yeah, I thought it was very much going to be that way, you know. And maybe it's the opposite. Again, I haven't really been online to hear a lot of people's takes on it, but like,
no, I think I have friends that are readers and they love it too so far. So,
great, I'm super happy to hear that.
Yeah, it's amazing to me, honestly.
It's a real tall order, man. This is a really complicated world, you know. There's a lot of moving parts here, and the show really takes its time of introducing those pieces to you. I'm 3 episodes in. How many episodes in are you, Jeff?
3. Yeah, I finished the third one as well.
You know,
today.
I feel like you get another layer every episode where it's like, hey, now we're gonna talk about this, you know. And I feel like that's necessary because again, there's a lot of complexities going on here. It's a story about gods, pretty much. You know, you're following this character called Lord Morpheus. He is the forever dreamer or whatever. Like he is the Sandman. He is the guy who controls the living and waking, the dreaming and waking world. You know, or he controls the dreaming. Excuse me.
He's one of like 8 gods called the Endless, who are like. They represent like certain things about everyday human life, like feelings, more or less. Like dream is obviously not feelings; it's the thing that happens that humans do.
Yeah.
But,
it's a processing of feelings, though. So.
Exactly.
He's very integral into.
But I know like despair is in there. They're all D names. It's like despair and desires in there too, and stuff like that. So I mean,
they're like quote unquote brothers and sisters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they all control their own realms and domains, you know, and they don't really intervene in each other's like ways.
Yeah, they don't go to what they call the mortal world, which is our world. Like they're not supposed to.
Or the waking world, I think is what they call it.
The waking world. Yeah, that's what the dreamer people in the dreaming land call it. Whatever the hell.
Yeah. And like the idea is that like in the absence of like the Lord of Dreams, like nightmares kind of went rampant like in the world or whatever, and as he's like coming back to like take back his realm, he has to like, you know, wrangle in kind of like some of these like loose threads or whatever that have been kind of running amok since his capturing, and it's really good, man. Like I'm really enjoying it. This is like one of those things. I call it like new fantasy, you know, because like
I know
it's not hitting any like fantasy tropes in terms of like, oh, here's the Gandalf character. Oh, there's the dwarves and elves. Like it's fantasy in a different way, you know what I mean? Like it's tackling different types of themes.
It's it's American Gods, but it keeps its footing so far. Like it's not American Gods where
it's like if American Gods
became a shit show.
Yeah. And I'm really enjoying that aspect of it. You know, I think the guy who plays Lord Morpheus or Dream, you know, like I've
never seen him before. He's so good in this role, dude.
So magnetic, and just the way that he talks. I'm the endless dreamer. You know, like I don't know. He's got a really ethereal way of like with his presence and stuff.
It's like exactly how I pictured him talking because I read a few pages of the of at least the first issue of the Sandman, and the way I don't know, the way his words are like kind of like written and the words he chooses, I'm like, I imagine this guy having like a really deep, like, I don't know.
Neil Gaiman on set was saying that he had to stop doing the Batman voice because I guess the actor.
It's like you're going to Batman with.
Yeah, you can't do that. Swear to me, I'm the endless dreamer. He doesn't sound like that. He's got a much more unique voice, and man, there's just a lot of really cool stuff going on in this series, you know, and it's an epic, you know, it's taking place over hundreds of years and everything like that, you know, it's like the first 3 we're in the first 3 episodes, and I think like 120 years have passed already. So it's like it's a really you know, it's a story that's really like expressly being told over a long pantheon of time.
And that's actually like the my understanding is that's the way the comics start too. Obviously, they end in a different time frame because the comics are from like the 1980s to 2000 or whatever. But like that's how it starts too. That's the setup. That's the main event that kickstarts everything. Is Dream gets captured by somebody in the waking world, and he's there for 100+ years, and he breaks out, and that the rest of the series is him cleaning shit up because everything's been going wrong since he was gone.
Yeah.
So you would think that sounds like the premise for the whole thing. Him in the cage for 100 years or whatever. No, that's the very beginning of it. That's crazy.
It's the first like 20 minutes of that show. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's super good, dude, and it's stars galore. Lots of Game of Thrones alumni in this show. I think Gwendolyn Christie shows up and plays Lucifer.
She's Lucifer, yeah.
And
actually, this is a DC Comics adaptation. That's DC proper. It's not like DC whatever. So like these guys like are supposed to be interacting with characters like Lucifer from the DC Comics and like Constantine.
Like John Constantine.
Yeah. They gender bend Constantine and Lucifer for this, and I honestly think they did it for the better on it. Like it fits the material better.
It
in my opinion.
worked so well that I wouldn't even ever question it, but I'm sure many people are. So
yeah, I'm sure they're like, I wanted a
I wanted
the
boy
guy
Lucifer
from the Lucifer show or whatever. Like
I need my Lucifer with giant red penis. It's like, okay, you have a really weird imagery of Lucifer in your head.
They want the Lucifer that South Park drew. That's what they want.
Exactly.
Big red dong.
Yeah.
Oh, with Saddam.
Yeah. Exactly. Hey, Satan.
Oh man.
No, I gotta watch that movie again.
It's got an 85 on Rotten Tomatoes, so
yeah,
it's not too shabby.
It is beloved, I would say. It is highly regarded as a good adaptation. There are, I believe, 5 series. It's a 5 series of books, and this covers the first 2. I may be wrong on that. I know this covers the first.
I can't remember.
I know this covers the first 2 series though, so it's like it's not like a one for one thing. I think like the first 4 to 6 episodes is the first issue, and the second issue is like the last 4 episodes of the season. So, and I forget, maybe 11. It might be 11 issues.
Like
I really
5
forget.
total volumes, but each volume is like 20 issues.
Yeah, I think that's right, man.
I know what you're talking about now. It's like the absolute editions where they combine it all.
Yeah, the omnibus.
I'm surprised, dude, because
it's gonna be my day tomorrow. I'm gonna finish this bad boy up.
Yeah, I can't wait to wrap it up, honestly, and get back to it. I've been liking the adaptations of characters I'm familiar with, but they're in new forms now, like Constantine. Constantine is played by the Doctor Who girl, one of the recent companions. I can't remember which era.
The girl.
I think it might have been the David Tennant era. I can't remember. I can't remember. I don't want to.
Could have been Matt Smith one.
I don't want to make it look like I know what I'm talking about because Doctor Who sucks. So
I think Doctor Who is super nerdy, and if you like it, you're kind of
you're kind of stupid.
No, dumb nerd. Your dumb nerd face.
Dumb nerd. How cannibalistic are nerds? Like right. The guy wearing a Star Wars shirt. I'm like, you like Doctor Who? What a freaking nerd.
I do love the. These are the comics that include biblical characters as comic book characters, like Cain and Abel being in this. Obviously, Lucifer,
which is very funny. I like
and Corinthian is a name of a nightmare that gets out. There's I love that type of stuff.
And the actor who plays Corinthian, who it's like he's the guy from Legion who plays I'm the slick talking redneck bad guy.
You mean Logan?
Logan. What did I say?
Yeah, Logan. Yeah, with Legion.
Legion. I did say
he was in Predator, the last Predator movie.
He was in the last Predator movie. Yeah. But he does this bad guy in a suit with a nice draw, pretty well.
Nails it.
He's pretty cool in this so far. I'm sure he's.
And Corinthian's such a cool character because he doesn't have eyes, but he has supernatural vision or something. It's just he's got such a cool role.
He has mouth. I feel like I see teeth in his eyes sometimes. He's got little mouths in his eyes. It's really weird, dude. Yeah, that's why he wears sunglasses all the time.
Patton Oswalt voices a Raven, who is Morpheus's sidekick.
Matthew the Raven.
That's been fun so far. Because Morpheus plays it straight and super serious the whole time, and then you got Patton Oswalting everywhere, and it's just it makes for a really really funny dynamic.
It does. Yeah.
Does he say does Morpheus in this one say machines, or does he?
He's freaking better, dude. I'm gonna ask Netflix for a refund if they don't do that.
He actually, I wanted to look at a human and just being like, you and your obsession with these machines. I'd be like, that was for me.
That'd be enough.
They added that for me.
That was literally for me. Yeah.
That's not good enough. That's not good enough.
Yeah, I'm very impressed. It's very hard to nail. I say that there hasn't been any recent good fantasy shows, but it really is hard to nail that tone for me at least. My standards are you got to be riveting AF for me to give a crap about anything fantasy related usually.
Well, and sometimes fantasy can get a little like too.
Yeah,
like,
if it's
like,
too dense, I'm like,
yeah.
I can't follow this at all. Like, I'm just too dumb. But yeah, this show does a great job at spelling out a lot of the lore and stuff, and while also not hand holding. Like, they're moving the plot along, and they're kind of revealing those details along the way, and I like that. They're balancing that really well. It's good shit so far.
Well, that's good because I know you guys had mentioned last time. This took many years to actually piece together, and
we've been talking about an adaptation of this since like 1992.
Sure.
I feel like
so it only took like 30 years.
Neil Diamond. It's been at Neil's. He's been the one trying to sell it to studios and trying to develop it. So he's actually involved in this show too. Thank God.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that he didn't settle for anything that compromised his vision of it.
And it's interesting because this is a WB property or a DC property, so you'd think this would be on like HBO Max or something like that.
Right, and it says Warner Brothers at the front of the every episode.
I don't know what's going on with that, so
I know, right? Like the HBO Max wants it now.
Yeah, right. I'm sure.
Is it reality television? Can we just say it's the real Sandman?
Guys, can we just say that we don't want it? Discovery's the real hero. All right, guys, let's just be real.
We're discovering how much they suck at.
Speaking of discovering, we have some headlines to discover tonight, everybody. Yeah,
Tim wishes he could be that good.
Whoa! Look at that!
Whoa, everybody!
Hey.
First up is Microsoft. Microsoft is testing Game Pass Ultimate Family Plan, in which up to 4 players can share a Game Pass Ultimate membership. $25 a month as opposed to $15 for standard GP Ultimate.
Yeah.
Cool. I guess so if you got extra people and
I mean that would work for people like us. We could do that among the chat if we wanted to. Like.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't
budget that among each other.
Huh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what me and my brother do with his Spotify account. He just gifted me like a family one.
That's what we like. I share Spotify between like 5 different people.
Yeah, so I think it's something like that where it's just like here's a code or whatever. Go get this plan.
I think it's cool. Any way to get this into more people's hands, whatever, I know it's a representation to be amongst the poor if you use Game Pass, is what I'm told.
Poor pass.
Fab,
and I am poor, so
he just texted me real quick and told me that. So, no, it's not true. Right. That's a Derek thing.
No, Sasan did.
Sasan did. Thank you. Yeah, this is a Sasan thing.
With the stop sign.
Oh no, he just texted. There it is. Sasan, yep. Poor pass.
Full stop.
Thank you. Full stop. Is that a yep? That's a wiener. Great. I'm happy for this. I think this is cool. I imagine Sony will probably answer into something.
Sony needs to get their shit together with releasing some like good PlayStation 1 classics. They're coming out the gate real slow with their Game Pass equivalents. So.
Yeah, I felt I'm asleep at the wheel on that one. So
yeah. So we need some more. Yeah, we need some more.
This is good news for me. Microsoft is freeing up Xbox Series S memory to improve graphical performance. Good. That's the one I have. I have a Series S.
Same here.
I think it's great too. I don't care.
I like my Series S. You know what? You can suck it. Hardware snobs, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah. So what? You're getting some kind of super sampling 4K, or I don't know. I don't even understand.
Who gives a shit?
I don't understand.
Look good on my TV.
Some people like just say things sometimes. I'm just like, I don't even think you know what you're saying.
It's 4K, but it's actually
you're saying buzzwords right now that you read off of a box.
We could just ask Derek something about blurry and not 4K and blah blah.
I don't know, man. Let's look at Digital Foundry. Help us out.
What's interesting about the freeing up memory thing is that it's hundreds of megabytes, but that's still for a drive that's like it's a terabyte drive, but most of it's OS. So not most of it, but a huge chunk of it. Chunky slice, whatever it's called. So like that's kind of a big deal, and for the fact that they're just going to reallocate that memory to graphics, like that's amazing.
Games already look great on the S. I mean, I played.
Yeah, they looks pretty on our TVs that Kyle and I have. It looks awesome.
I played the Gears series, and obviously 4 and 5 are the newer ones, and Gears 5 looked fantastic. So
Forza looked great.
Forza looked great. Yeah.
It's good stuff.
So it's good. I'm excited for that. Anyone who has a Series S, should be excited for that. No news is new news for Nintendo. Nintendo will not be announcing new hardcore this year.
Hardware. We know what's on Kyle's.
They're not going to be doing hardcore games.
Hardcore hardware.
So if you want your pornographic hentai games, you need to go elsewhere. They're not doing them anymore.
I just need Bowsette. I need Bowsette.
We need a recurring headline that's that, even though that's never been a news thing. Like, once again, the cowards at Nintendo won't announce hardcore porn games.
Hardcore porn. They will not allow hardcore porn to be
as if that's ever been on a question on anybody's mind.
We've all been asking for years, and Miyamoto will not show us his dong.
Yeah,
it's just
so
he won't
weird,
do it.
I've sent him so many unsolicited text messages, and he still won't. He still won't slip
and
back
he
in
just
my
replies
DMs.
with a wave file of the Yoshi sound.
What
does that mean?
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah. There's no new.
There was an announcement, or not an announcement. I'm sorry, a speculation that Nintendo's next hardware.
I feel like there's been a
out.
speculation for the last 3 years.
Well, the Switch Pro, right?
Everyone, the Switch Pro, everybody.
Yeah,
you know, I'm so sick of hearing about this. There's a chip shortage. No one's making a new console right now. It's not happening.
Yeah.
No, you know who's doing it? Nobody. So
that's
they're certainly not brainstorming new consoles.
I think the Steam Deck is literally the last thing to go. You know what? I think we're gonna try and do this in this climate, and it's going all right. But like, you know, even those are rolling out pretty slow. So, but yeah, I don't know. I don't care. You guys want a new Switch right now? Y'all need a new?
No,
Nintendo?
not at all. I'm actually relieved. I'm somewhat relieved by this news because I
wanna
always
know
feel pressure to get the newest thing that I end up succumbing to like way too soon. Much like I do in other areas of my life.
Oh, hey,
hey, expound on that.
Hey, be explicit about what you're talking about.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't need the temptation. That's you know, I'm actually kind
of.
What
if it was like the same price essentially, and they made the regular Switch like $200 because that thing's still $300.
If I was guaranteed, if I was guaranteed that I didn't have to like fight bots for one, yes.
Yeah.
Throw it on me, sure.
Because I mean, you could also trade in your Switch towards it at GameStop. They usually do a deal whenever something a new system's about to come out like that, so it's not totally.
I hope GameStop burns to the ground. Anyways.
Oh, hey.
Speaking of burning to the ground, Sony has nothing to share this week, so we're gonna move on to.
All right.
Who cares? You know, they're like, hey, we're selling systems and we're not putting out games. We don't care.
Yeah, exactly. Who cares? And the games you do put out are hot garbage.
You guys want God of War, right? Frickin' wait for it then.
Oh, God forbid.
Yeah.
We're like God of Waiting.
Yeah, God of Waiting is more like it.
Listen, we got fairies and swords, all right, guys? So we have that.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Together forever.
Together forever.
Together forever.
We're gonna slip into some non-denominational general news. All right, it's
non-binary, non-gender,
non-binary, gender fluid news.
Jesus Christ! How many people are so mad right now?
You're mad.
2.5.
You're the one that brought it up.
I'm mad that I'm laughing right now.
I'm mad that everyone's laughing. I need you guys to center yourself. All right.
So I need to pretend I'm in a cave 8 hours in.
I need you to pretend that you're 8 hours in.
Start meditating.
Oh man, you guys, you can do that in the atrium of that cave. Anyway, that's a white guy telling people to do to their culture what they will. Don't listen to me. Speaking of culture doing what they will, AEW Fight Forever trailer footage leaked.
Is that a culture?
Right?
Is that a culture?
Wrestling is a culture.
What?
Wrestling is a culture. Absolutely.
And Jeff's gone.
My God.
And Jeff's gone.
Jeff,
this has been amazing.
You can maybe expound on this a little more.
Yeah, sure.
Hold on. Are these games connected? AEW Fight Forever? Together Forever? Huh?
Oh no. I hear the fairy and sword characters are going to be in this game. Yeah.
Yeah. Some say this is a direct sequel, actually. So the AEW Fight Forever, they haven't actually shown any trailer stuff officially. It's just that
leaks.
I guess they got leaks. So I can't believe this is what would be leaked and not like more God of War Ragnarok stuff. That's just, it's crazy where the holes are in the industry. I don't know. So she said. I think
what she said.
Man.
Oh, now you're the one overusing it.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's I don't.
No, I take it. No, I accept that.
I know you do. You're a whore about that.
I am a whore. I'm a whore. That's what she said.
But they did show some of the trailer. The leakers did. They showed some of the trailer that not the whole thing. I hope it's not the whole thing. But it's like it was like just showing a couple wrestlers going back and forth, and it looked arcadey, and they were selling a point that they want anybody to be able to pick up the controller and just fight, much like an arcade game. So like they were selling that that it's going to be much easier, mechanically speaking.
That's what I want out of a wrestling.
Yeah, exactly. Same here. Yeah. Just like hold A and then don't hold A for a weak move or whatever. Like it's just I just need an arcadey AF. That's it. That's all I want.
There's a grab button. There's a strike button.
Yeah.
There's a pin button. And
that's it.
There's a run button. Yeah.
I don't want to have to press 3 buttons for 4 different ways to pin somebody.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Right.
And if my special meter is full, maybe I have to hit 2 buttons at the same time.
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't want any other version of it at all.
Too complicated.
Yeah. Right. Do reuse Hadouken at the same time while clockwise turning around the character.
I'll Hadouken all day.
Yeah.
I'll Hadouken all day.
Quarter circle back.
And then the other footage that they showed in the trailer was like immediately they were selling the weapons. They were like, yeah, there's like 20, 30 something weapons to choose from, maybe even more than that. I can't remember the exact number, but I remember it being impressively high. Like I can't even think of 10 weapons off the top of my head. But like they were showing one part where like a wrestler put a trash can on top of another wrestler's head and just started hitting them, and I was like, that's amazing. Give me that, dude. Give me that game. And then one of them had a fire extinguisher. I was like, I can't remember. I'm pretty sure there have been fire extinguishers in wrestling games before, but it's been a long time since I've seen one. I think they kind of took it out after they kind of stopped using it in wrestling since the Attitude Era. Like, I don't know, but this one had it to a point where you can actually use it and spray it at somebody, not like just hit them over the head with it. And I thought that was really funny. Yeah. Anyway, it looks like fun, but the most standout thing about the product to me is all the mini games that they have. They added like Yakuza type Mario Party mini games where like
I'm here for it.
Yeah, where you can like do dancing or like something. It's something crazy like you're collecting coins in the ring or something. It looked kind of nutty, and I was like, oh, I'm kind of here for that, man. I don't think any other wrestling game has ever done that. So that's interesting. That's the thing that stood out the most to me, and I don't think anything else.
Any word on if it's like superstars across all eras, or like what's the vibes on characters?
I think I remember hearing that the roster is not going to be as big as everybody expected. It's going to be about 50 something wrestlers, and this company now has way more wrestlers than that. So it might be a platform thing where they just keep adding them as DLC. But I do remember reading that Owen Hart's going to be in the game, and this will be his first time to be able to be in a game like. Since like the Attitude, like not the Attitude Era, but like what N64 games. Like I mean, he hasn't been in it because his estate, his wife basically is just like refusing to do any business with WWE. Like they don't.
The second it's somebody else though, she's like, yeah, sweetie, sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Good. You know why? Good. Yeah, so she got boned so hard in all this.
That's the biggest superstar in this, and then anybody else that's on the current AEW roster, but there are still people that are generally known among old wrestling fans, like Sting and CM Punk, like they're the biggest names, and there's some other ones, Jericho. So like there's some like crossover wrestlers that you'll recognize, but for the most part, it's a lot of the new stars that might be unfamiliar to past fans of wrestling. I'm excited for it. The customization sounds a little minimal compared to WWE, but even in my opinion, the WWE game's going a little too far with that. Like.
Yeah. I was trying to make my guy in the new one, and the second it was like now choose every move, and like the thing is that there's a move for like every angle you're coming at,
exactly.
And I was like, well, I don't care about all this. I'm just gonna whatever the default moves are, I'm just gonna use that because I don't have 3 hours to go through.
Exactly.
Because I just spent 3 hours creating my character, and now you're telling me to
because the just the character itself has way too many options. You're like, this is okay. I don't want to customize every little detail. Like, just make it as simple as possible, like No Mercy did. And I think the AEW Fight Forever is trying to lean back.
Hair length, beard, no beard, color of hair, color of eye. That's all you really need. Maybe some face paint options.
Right. But I don't want to. How big do you want your lobes to be?
Yeah, right. Yeah. How about your brow? Do you want it furrowed?
What if that's your angle?
Or Mass Effect? Who cares?
What if your wrestler's name is Lobie, or like Lobes? And you want really long lobes.
Big Lobes Johnson.
I get it, man. Then go play the other WWE games.
Come out, you strangle the opponent with your long lobe. I don't know.
You're like, I gauged my ears when I was a teenager, and now they'll never heal again, so I strangle my opponents with them.
My favorite customization in the WWE games lately of this gen have been the giving the announcer a nickname to announce you as. Like they have these ring announcers record just all these words from a word bank and then they put that word bank into the game, and you get to pick in what order.
That's
so like
sweet.
I could even have the ring announcer call me the same thing, like the same word 3 words in a row. The super Jeff, like something stupid.
That's fun. I love
so
that.
It's really funny.
Five time.
That's customization. That's like cool. That's something that's so dumb that I want it. But whereas you don't need to get more specific than that, though. That's like that's a little too overboard. Like that's just for me, basically, to be as dumb as possible with. But yeah, I don't need everything to be customized. Like just cool it. And this sounds like this game is kind of scaling things back, simplifying wrestling games again.
I think the perfect balance is give like super in-depth customization, but also have it be simple, like how you guys want it. I think you need to be able to approach it like kind of like when you go into it, be like, oh, I want advanced, like crazy custom, or I just want kind of like general, like, you know, bullet points. Like, that's what it should do. That'd be
cool if there's both, but considering the graphics kind of look arcadey as well, like they don't look hyper realistic,
right?
Like
but I'm saying with like the WWE games, because you guys.
That's the only thing I don't see them being able having us to create a wrestler that has like a big head or whatever. Like,
sure.
I don't see us changing bone structure that much. I see us more, you know, changing face, you know, color or features like beards, and that's about it. Which is. That's
all I need. That's all
I want. I also want to edit their wardrobe, make it look as dumb as possible, please. Yeah. And then have them win a world title like it's not ironic.
Well, yeah. in general, it kind of sounds like a nice pivot from like what WWE is doing and stuff like that. You know, it's going to sound like a nice, a change for them.
This company continues to cement its legacy as a competitor by not directly doing the thing the competitor does.
Right.
So I think that voice.
Speaking of pivots, we're going to pivot to movies. Movies and entertainment realm. Batgirl movie canceled. Y'all know about the Batgirl? Hey, guys.
Batgirl?
You guys know about the Batgirl? You know?
There's a girl Batman now?
I actually didn't remember. Okay, can I just say before I finish this? I actually didn't remember this movie existed until they were like, Brendan Fraser was going to be Firefly. And I go, that I remember.
Right.
I remember.
That's funny that you don't remember that because Michael Keaton was going to make a return as Batman in this one, too. He was going to be in the new Flash movie.
Flashpoint.
And he was going to. So we're never going to see freaking Michael Keaton's Batman.
He also shot scenes in Aquaman, but they were replaced with the Ben Affleck scenes. So.
Oh, my God. Stop it. Really?
Replaced?
I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding you. Yeah, I just read that. So, yeah. Anyways,
Zack Snyder's a cancer man.
This is all because of a WB Discovery merger / buyout / takeover, whatever. So the Batgirl movie, which I believe was once written by Joss Whedon, but I think they threw that. It was, out.
And then the problematic articles came out. Yep. Around the same time, and then that's when he was like, I got to step away because of no other reason.
Yeah. I also had to step away from my time traveling HBO girl show that got canceled too.
Sure.
Anyways, yeah. So he got booted off. This is a totally different project. From what I understand, it was done.
It was done. Yeah,
it was like done.
The movie was in post. They were literally editing the movie to be released like maybe this year sometime. And. So like shooting was done, the actors were done, reshoots were done, whatever. Everything.
I guess they found out when we found out is what it sounds like.
Yeah.
So
it sounds like all the actors definitely found out when we found out at least, and the directors might have been told a little before that.
I think they may have had because I think they had a statement ready, but like they couldn't have known too much ahead of time.
No.
Yeah.
I know that
seemed like a blindside.
Had to have had it rough, like especially the star who was a no. I mean, I didn't recognize her name from anything. Like,
no.
I don't know who that is. This was going to be a star-making performance, or it could have been. And it was by the writer of it was by the writer of Birds of Prey, who I really liked.
I like that movie. Yeah.
But like, I really loved what she did with that movie. That movie's so fun. And the directors also did the recent Miss Marvel show. They did a few episodes in that, so they're DC traders too. No.
Oh, wow.
But they've done that. Like these guys, they're not slouches. I just don't understand why you wouldn't drop something like this on HBO Max.
You spent all of this money, and like you're at the end there. Like you're about to cross.
The budget's already spent too, so you're not spending more money on it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's already.
Wasn't it 90 million too? Like the amount of money was like a lot, and that's the thing with this freaking merger, this Discovery CEO. It was actually a takeover, I should say. Discovery bought WB, and along with that, they took all of WB's debt. So all they're seeing with all Discovery is seeing with all these new projects is how can we cancel that and apply it as a tax write-off so we can like write that off as we can scrub that from the debt. That's all they're doing really is going.
Yeah.
How much money can we make from it?
And a lot
would it be better for us to offload this? Like
a lot of your favorite shows, and so they're in jeopardy right now. If you are enjoying stuff that you're watching, like Warrior that just got that's gone. Yeah, everyone better enjoy that one last season that we just got, which is a miracle that we got it to begin with because it's already been canceled. Because it's totally going to get canceled.
How do you think I feel I'm a big AEW fan. That's the reason I keep breaking up those freaking games nobody cares about. I'm a huge AEW fan, and they are on TBS and TNT. And who owns that? WB.
Oh no.
Discovery. Wow. So like everybody is paranoid about that in the at least the internet wrestling circles. So.
It's gonna have cascading effects to entertainment.
So that's the thing. Discovery, they base their whole like success on reality shows, kind of like survival reality shows, or even they have some ghost hunting ones too, right? I think they air some.
They have make believe shows. Cool.
Is this where
Ghost Adventures? It's reality, Dan.
Yeah, but they describe it as anyway. They're suckers for reality TV, and so like that's what the Discovery CEO is like trying to lean the content towards, but it's like most of WB's success comes from
that's a proper response.
Not dumb stuff. So like comes from movies and TV shows that are fictional, and
HBO is like that's a thing. Like it's not TV, it's HBO. Like that means something, you know what I mean?
Right.
And now you got this merger going on, and they're gonna name it something stupid probably. Not HBO in the title, and it's like
they're probably because the Discovery CEO seems to have such a hard on still for Discovery Plus. Yes, they have their own streaming service, and nobody freaking knows and cares about it. Yeah. Nobody.
Well, we have it because my wife watches like random documentaries on there.
Okay. Well, Dan's wife, and that's one person.
Yeah, that one person. That one person. My wife.
Your wife.
But it's just not talked about. You know what I mean? So I feel like they're going to be stubborn and kind of like, as a middle finger to the consumer, just be like, we're going to call it Discovery Max.
Yeah, that's funny.
It's gonna be like,
God damn it!
Oh, that's where I can watch Sopranos. Thanks. Like,
yeah, I can discover The Sopranos on Max.
Oh man, I hate this. I hate this whole idea that this whole the amount of workers that they hired to bring in and dedicate so much time to making this movie, and it's done pretty much. Like it probably was like 10% left work to do, and they just said, no, we're just gonna pretend that movie doesn't exist. And if they do apply it as a tax write-off, whatever you call it, to write off some debt, they can never monetize it, meaning they can't even put it out there for free like they do.
Although, and this is probably giving him way too much credit, but then now there's like something about they're piecing together a 10-year Marvel style MCU plan, like they're kind of in the beginning.
So I understand the direction that he's wanting there, but at the same time, they're still doing Aquaman 2. They're still going to release the Flash despite the whole Ezra Miller debacle. They're still gonna release.
And he thinks he's being followed by the FBI and Ku Klux Klan. Apparently, by the way, I don't know if you guys were aware of that.
You freaking psycho! Like,
so he's walking around with a gun. He's walking around with a gun, thinking that people are coming.
He's a goddamn menace, I tell you. I don't know. I mean.
So that's coming out still. But...
Are they still doing the Batman too? Like, because these are different.
That's what I'm paranoid about too. Like they did see. That's the thing.
Joker's coming out. That's a different universe.
Joker 2 feels like they're committed to that.
That's gross. That whole
musical with Lady Gaga.
You know what I would? I would rather slam my fingers in a door than see that movie.
Hold on. So what is the deal with the second Joker movie? It's a musical.
It's a full-blown musical, and Lady Gaga.
Stop it.
And Lady Gaga
in Arkham Asylum. And Lady Gaga is Harley Quinn, yes.
You think it sounds made up because those are made up things that I just said. It's not though. Those are all very factual things that are in the news right now.
That was a good leave. He sold it too. He sold it.
What the I just Why?
I'm so funny.
Why?
So funny.
WB is on fire right now, and I mean that in a bad way, like literal, like their skin is on
fire.
Yeah,
it's Donald Glover walking into the apartment again.
Yeah. Not like they're knocking it out of the park. Like he's on fire, like in a sports.
He's on fire.
A sports term.
Right.
No, this is like it's awful, and I don't know what this means for anything. You know, like I know that like they're like the one thing that they said was safe was like Flash is safe. I'm like, but what about the Penguin show? Like, is that safe?
Yeah, I know.
Like, I want to make sure these things that I care about are safe. Not
that was the thing I was
care about. Like,
I was trying. I keep getting sidetracked because tangents are what we do. But that was the thing I was trying to say before I forgot to say it.
This is all on topic, baby.
Was take a shot, tangent. There was yeah. So crap. Now I lost my train of thought. See, it's gone. Take another shot. All right. Okay, so no, I know what it was. So like now it's like they're catering to the whims of a madman who's just willing to swing the axe.
Sure.
So like this guy, you never know what he's gonna say he loves. So like they did a press conference thing, and that's when he made clear the franchises that he believed in. He was like, "I've seen The Flash, I loved it. I saw Aquaman 2 looks great. Shazam 2 looks great." And then he said, the Batman seems very solid for us. Like, he is a big fan of the Batman as a franchise. Solid for us. And I was like, oh, thank God. Everybody's like kind of like backstage, like watching on a monitor, like going, yes, we're solid. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we made it in. Yeah.
You never know what he's gonna praise next, and you're like,
it almost sounds like Trump. Just like, what is he gonna say? What is that dumb horse gonna say?
And everybody loves sharks. We gotta have shows about sharks.
Well, he's the horse loose in the hospital, right? That's what Trump is. So. Are you familiar with the John Mulaney bit? No, nobody.
No, I can't
remember. Guys, watch the newest John Mulaney stand-up. I think it was from like 2 years ago, and he has a whole bit about Trump, and it describes him as a horse loose in a hospital. It just imagine a horse just being loose in a hospital, just the chaos, and just the loose cannoning type of energy. So yeah, it's a good bit. It's a good bit.
I gotta watch his more of his stand-up. I can't quote a single one of, even though I enjoyed every single one.
I'm a huge John Mulaney fan. Yeah. I like the bit where he's like, he's like, so I answered my pants, like a liar or whatever that bit is. Like,
it's his sell of those type of dumb jokes.
Yeah. So I agreed with him, like a liar. Just the way that he puts an emphasis on stuff is perfect.
So
I also liked his dumb TV show from back in the day.
Oh yeah, it was like on a seat for a year.
It was literally just called Mulaney.
Yeah, it was on for like a year, which is unfortunate.
Yeah,
that dude deserved so much better than the industry gave him.
He has a baby with Olivia Munn. He's fine, guys.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but that whole thing with
the shows he kept trying to write. Like,
he is doing okay, I promise.
I know he's doing fine as a stand-up, and I mean, look at the misses. Right.
Well, I mean, that whole thing with the wife is pretty shitty. Yeah, but we don't have to go there.
I don't really know much about it. I just know that he has a new.
He bagged Olivia Munn. That's what
he basically just like out of nowhere just is like, oh, I'm gonna divorce my wife that I've even said it during.
Also, I like
bits
cocaine.
that he loves.
Yeah.
And the cocaine stuff, and then he went to rehab again, and then immediately out of rehab, he left the wife, and then basically knocked up Olivia Munn pretty soon after. So
yeah.
I was like to think of her as like a bad girl that like got him back off track. Anyway, tangents aside, everybody.
People are dead now with the tangents.
Yeah, Speaking of gossip, we have Square Enix confirms it's looking to sell stakes in its studios to concentrate its resources on Japanese games. Dan, do you know a little bit more about this particular story?
I don't even know what this is, guys. What's going on?
According to Japan-based analyst David Gibson, who was the Square conference call on Friday morning, the sale of Crystal Dynamics and Eidos to Embracer Group was phase 1 of Square Enix's kind of like cleanup plan. Phase 2 will be diversification and studio capital structure. So according to Gibson's report on the call, the biggest impact is on EU, European, US studios around large titles. And that the change means Square Enix will be able to allocate resources mainly to Japanese titles. So it just seems a refocusing of everything. I don't know how to spin this out of the racist thing. I don't know.
The main thing for me is that CEO, whatever his name is, was it Matsuda? And just his just freaking raging boner for NFTs. Like, get that shit out of here, dude. Like, I swear to God, like, because I think it's pretty clear most people, for the most part, want nothing to do with those. So let's not start leaning in that. Oh, actually, they did, because there's a couple of Final Fantasy VII figures that are coming out, or a few of them, and there's like a classic looking cloud, like kind of more like the classic, like sort of, polygonal Final Fantasy VII classic looking version. Mm-hmm. And then there's more of like Advent Children looking cloud. And one of those comes with like a NFT certificate or something. It's like, you sneaky sons of a bitches. Like, you snuck it in there. You just had to do it, didn't you? So yeah, I don't know.
I know I got a lot of really mixed feelings about all this stuff going on with Square Enix myself. So it's it's hard to watch. It's hard to watch them floundering and not understand what success is and put different strains and expectations on certain projects and not.
But then they do excellent in other, like with Final Fantasy 14, for example, is just
it's probably it goes by the mileage of like those feel good projects probably go by their creator heads and stuff as well.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
It's maybe nice for some of those. It's nice that especially with Final Fantasy 14 you have such a hands-on development team because everything feels very corporate with Square Enix right now.
Yeah,
when it's very, very, very like official and weird, and I feel like they're making a lot of mistakes right now. They're offloading a lot of properties that I think would see a lot of success underneath them if they just allocated the resources properly, maybe lowered the expectations a little bit to realistic standards.
They never sold well enough, right? They never sold.
I mean, they sold really well, and with the historical idea of what a well-selling game is, and the MPDs, but Square just was never happy about anything. So
no, they weren't.
It's hard to understand fully like what their reasoning is and stuff like that. Especially when maybe it's a weird like Japanese like business cultural thing that we don't understand because like Konami felt weird with its way that they shifted suddenly too, and like I just don't know if we're missing part of the picture here.
It's like they just expected the European devs to make like GTA numbers or something. It's like that's what they expected almost.
Yeah, by acquiring something a little more worldly, like like they would return more of a profit. Maybe
like way
absolutely.
More.
And there might be expectations for certain properties to make more money globally. Like an expectation for Tomb Raider to do better than a Final Fantasy game. You're probably going to reach a bigger demographic with a Tomb Raider game than a Final Fantasy game. But if your Final Fantasy game is selling better than your Tomb Raider game, maybe from a business standpoint, that causes some issues. But I don't know. It's hard to see the reasoning with this, and it feels like Japanese gaming and American gaming are siloing off again, which feels weird. Where it felt like there was a blur there for a while with all the acquisitions going on. Now it feels like everything's accusations going on, guys. You guys are owning whatever you want and rabble. As
long as we
it feels
still
like there's
have
a major shift going on here.
Yeah, as long as we still have some of those kind of like main guys. We got Yoshida and Nomura in there with the zippers and his crazy taking Kingdom Hearts into nonsense places, and what's the other one? I can't remember his name. Damn it. Whatever. Just some of those big name guys that are still there.
The fact that you can't remember is racist. I'm just saying.
Of course, Katase. There we go.
You're racist like Square.
Katase, motherfucker.
Square's racist.
Katase. As long as they still got those guys just manning the ship, they're making their Final Fantasy remake trilogy here. They're doing their Final Fantasy 14, and that's making buku bucks. So just keep that going and don't. I don't know.
Yeah, I hope their focus doesn't become suffocating to like the creators of the few projects that they are keeping going.
Yeah, because if those guys start leaving because the suits are really just like pushing down on them and really kind of putting a stranglehold on the
Konami style, where you see like an all man off ship type of situation.
Yeah.
I hope not to see that. I have a lot of hope for Square Enix's future, but apparently it's not in international games. They're really focusing down. So that is that. You guys, did y'all hear about the Giancarlo Esposito confirms that he has met with Marvel Studios, wants to play Professor X? I think we saw something recently with what's that kid's name from the Kingsman movies.
Taron
Egerton. Thank you. Yeah. He recently said that he had meetings as well and wanted to play roles like Wolverine and stuff like that.
I feel like these actors, I feel like these guys are come out of the meeting with Kevin Feige and they're like, do you want me to just say that I want to play that and that I met you guys, and we'll see how social media receives it, and then you can announce casting later.
Kevin's like, that's absolutely what I want you to do.
That's absolutely yes. You're going to actually
that's genius.
So this week is that he got to Giancarlo Esposito got to say, hey, I want to play Professor X, but he also mentioned roles that are being discussed and thrown around like Doctor Doom and Magneto. Hey, he could play all these roles. Can I just say?
Magneto?
Magneto, he's probably born for, if I'm just being honest.
Yeah,
I think he's totally born for that.
He could convince me to jump off a bridge with like my dog or something. He is like so charismatic as a bad guy.
Yeah.
Like he can completely sell us on Magneto's point of view. Like he would be so brilliant as.
But he's just been playing a lot of bad guys for a while, so maybe doing Xavier would be really cool.
Doing Xavier does make a lot of sense, especially probably personally, he'd probably like to play a good guy. For like a change of pace for him.
I feel like at this point he's like, okay, now I'm only known for bad guy roles.
Sure.
Yeah.
I want to be an iconic role that people can like. It's kind of like with Patrick Stewart. You struggle to differentiate Patrick Stewart from Xavier now that you only think maybe he wants that for himself. Like instead of just being the murderous, charismatic a-hole on like everything he does.
Right. And he'd be good for Doctor. I think we're gonna go younger for Doctor Doom. I think Doctor Doom.
I think so too.
I think Doctor Doom's gonna be a mainstay villain. Kind of going forward. We were talking about this in the chat where it's just like I really think that we have some red herring villains going on here, and he's going to end up probably being the big bad, which is why they're trying to get Fantastic Four out, because I think it's important that we get Doctor Doom on the map playing chess with all these big players,
And Galactus?
No, we're never getting him.
No Galactus?
No, we're going to get him at some point.
No Planet Eater?
Which one is the one that everybody speculates for every Marvel thing that somebody's going to show up? Mephisto, yeah.
It's Mephisto,
but we are going to Mephisto, though.
Hey, this time it's Mephisto for sure,
Guys, I swear, I saw him in the Madness. He was in there.
I need you guys to really understand that it's Mephisto.
Inside Mom.
No, I think he'd be a good Doctor Doom. I think they burned their best Doctor Doom, which was Mads Mikkelsen. He was born to play Doctor Doom, and I think that they burned him by making him a non-bad guy and a bad guy no one remembers in Doctor Strange.
Exactly. Yeah, but he'd be wearing a mask. Maybe he could get away with it, right?
Yeah, maybe. And depending on what version of Doctor Doom you're on, he's disfigured under that mask. So
sure. Yeah.
So I don't know. Doctor Doom's my favorite bad guy, like in all of Marvel, all of it. Every single bit of it, he's the Lex Luthor, of this universe. Like he is like the diabolical. Like he gets so powerful, like galactic entities like want to team up with him to help like take down like universes.
Wow.
So it's like
give me that Latvia run, like in whatever the next saga is going to be. Like that Latvia he's like got his own country. Yep. He is like. And
they've set Latvia up a couple times now. They brought up they were in Latvia in Falcon and Winter Soldier, so it's like they've been setting this up for a long time. It's a long time coming for this Doctor Doom reveal. They need to nail it, and they better not screw it up. And if you
they need to make it even more pronounced than the Thanos. Like, don't have him just cameo. At the end of every movie, he's like,
I guess it's my turn. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, don't have him do that. Like, show up and like have him like actually manipulating events, like through a series like 20 movies or whatever. Like, I would love that.
Kyle, we're in the multiverse saga. You easily can throw Mads Mikkelsen in there. He's just that's just what he looks like from a different universe.
It's the perfect way to recast. It really is. Yeah. That's all gonna get so messy as we get forward. Especially in Secret Wars, where it's like this variant. Like, I bet money Chris Evans is gonna show up as a freaking Thor or something.
No, he's showing up as
and Chris Evans is gonna be like, you look like my Captain America or whatever. Like he's gonna like.
I feel like he's gonna show up as
Human Torch. My Captain America.
Yeah, we're gonna get that for sure. We're gonna get a whole bunch of just like nuttiness that's just it's just gonna be.
Is that where it ends? Right? Is that where it ends? It should end there, right? Like just everybody killing each other in the Secret Wars. Like it just ends.
Pretty much, yeah.
So they're vying for their one spot in the one universe that's gonna remain. So it's like it's a nice soft reset for sure.
Yeah.
It's the way we're gonna get.
And it's a good way to
Tom
close
Cruise as our Iron Man, which we better not.
The messiness that. Tom Cruise.
We better not get that. I don't want that. I want that. 0%. I want that.
Please don't. No, weird nerds don't deserve the gratification.
Keanu. What would Keanu play in the Marvel?
Darth Revan in Star Wars. Oh wait,
hasn't he met with
MCU?
Marvel? I thought he met with Marvel already.
I thought so too.
I read that he met with them.
I know people were saying for Moon Knight they wanted him to be Moon Knight, but
I mean maybe 10 years ago. Been curious about that.
Oscar Isaac was perfect for me.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I don't know who he'd be good at playing. I don't know. Maybe he could be Silver Surfer.
Yeah, Silver Surfer wouldn't require. Just needs a good speaking voice, honestly.
And he has a pronounced enough one, I'd say. I'm the surfer.
Yeah.
I know, surfer.
Now I've seen the comedy in the
wrong.
Whoa. Did you see that sick silver wave I just put it on?
Wow, dude. Galactus is coming, bro.
I know how to surf. Show me.
Show me.
Dude, Lawrence Fishburne as Galactus, that would be amazing.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Yeah, I'm here for it.
And like poetic, because Lawrence Fishburne is Silver Surfer in that shitty one from a few years ago.
Stop
Is
it.
he
Was
really?
it really?
Yeah, he was the voice of the Silver Surfer.
Get
Yes.
out of here! I don't remember that.
Yeah, somebody else was the body
yes.
or whatever, the CG body, but he was the
Crazy.
voice.
I don't remember that. That's amazing.
It all comes full circle. It all comes around full circle.
He like poked. I remember one time Sue Storm put up a field to prevent him from like coming in and like talking to them or attacking them, and he just sneaks right in with his surfboard, and he's just like he just like comes right through it, and he's just like machines. It was a great scene.
I love it. I love that's my favorite part. That's my favorite part of the whole movie. Yeah.
Oh shit.
I gotta go watch Kevin Feige was listening to this podcast, and he's just like, "I'm turning this off. I'm not listening to this again. These are some of the worst ideas."
Nah, he's taking notes, bro. He's taking notes.
He's like machines, all cash.
Yeah, he's like that part I'm taking. Circle, arrows, machines. Yeah, I don't know. That's pretty much it for all the general news in terms of movies and stuff. Do you have anything else here?
I wanted to end on something. So I did a How I Met Your Mother trivia night.
Goddamn.
Oh, here we go. Jesus.
Last
Christ.
Monday. And last Monday, I took my friend, a mutual friend of Kyle and I's, JD, and he brought his brother-in-law Andrew.
Well, I like Andrew.
And he's good people, and he's got a hell of a memory. And to say we won is like, that's downplaying it. We demolished everybody at the bar. It was insane. We were 40,000 points higher than the second place.
Did you say 40,000?
40?
Yeah.
Because
we answered the fastest out of everybody.
Wow. Jesus. All right.
And time plays a factor in how well you do. Whatever, but yeah, like we just decimated, and I remember there was like a point in the fourth round where I looked around and I was like, "There's a lot less teams here." Like they just like left after they saw there was a clear winner after round one. We were that far ahead.
Wow.
We're going back to do some Marvel.
Rage quit.
Yeah, they rage quit. There's a Marvel movie trivia night this Monday, so there's another chance to totally decimate right there.
I'd be good at that. I think.
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna Skype in. Got news for you. You're gonna call in and you're gonna join us.
I'm not gonna do that. That's not. I'm not gonna do that.
Jesus.
Yeah, so it's like I feel like it's 2 weeks in a row that I'm like, oh my god, I think I'm gonna win another round of trivia, and I never do that. At general trivia night, I'm normally last because they're always like asking geography questions. So
I'm too scattered brained for like general trivia. I gotta like if you tell me like a focused thing, I feel like I can walk in with those like folders unlocked already. Where I'm like, all right, we're talking about this,
Exactly. And that's How I Met Your Mother felt like. I was like, all these years of rewatching that show over and over and over again.
I'm gonna finally get to put it to use.
I got to answer the question. So Robin dated a kid. Whoa. No, she didn't.
Whoa.
She dated a guy.
Whoa.
She dated a guy who had a kid. And one of the questions was, what was the kid's name? And it's multiple choice. Every single question is multiple choice. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, that's the name. Like, who else stores that useless ass information in the brain? I saw the name and I was like, oh, it's that guy. And nobody else knew that answer at the table. So that was like, they were like calling him something else. And I was like, that's not it at all.
You guys are wrong.
Yeah, you guys are wrong.
Wanted to go somewhere. Where did you want to go?
Like it's only with that. She wanted to go to the mall. They do ask you freebie questions where they're like, "What city did the show take place in?" And all of us looked around. We're like, "You serious?"
Yeah, I mean,
New Hampshire.
Yeah,
it was Hartford, Connecticut. We all know this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm gonna come back $25 richer in gift cards.
Ooh.
Wow.
After winning the Marvel one. No, I'm kidding. Just wanted to brag for it and also bring up How I Met Your Mother, which has one of the best shows endings ever.
It has a wonderful ending.
I mean,
it's actually 2 out of 3 people, so that's
super
actually
high.
Yeah,
it's super high.
So obviously
that's the majority. You have to run off a democracy type system. It's 2 out of 1. I'm sorry.
We know that's not even valid anymore.
It's 2 out of 1. It's 2
America does not run on a democracy.
It's 2 out of 1. I don't know.
2 out of 1.
We don't run on democracy anymore. It's not even a democracy.
Well, this podcast it is. At the end of the year, democracy. 2 out of 1. 2 out of 1.
One third of us is stoned as hell. So
who
your dog.
Somebody else is here.
Goku.
It's your dad.
Anyways, everybody, that was episode 127 of Current Gen. I really appreciate you sticking with us through all the tangents. That's why we had no segments this week, because...
Although, it's funny, because tangents, a lot of them, one of the shorter episodes recently.
Really?
There you go. Yeah.
Hey, Tim, you're welcome, bud.
We didn't go, 18 hours.
Ask me back anytime, man. I can keep it short.
Nice and brief.
Yeah, when all the stuff that he edits out of me talking, it's going to be like an hour and a half
please
episode.
Take all of our edit notes, and no, I really appreciate everyone being here, and everyone have a good week and whatnot. All right?
Big giant testicles.
Wieners on my nose.
Why would you say that?
Hanging from his lobes.
Is somebody going to stop the recording?
Can someone, it's not me.